I've been on mute the entire time. Perfect. All right. We've been on mute the entire time. Rusty, I'll pick this back up again. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another Roiling League episode after our holiday hiatus. We have no announcements or updates, so we'll jump right into it. When last we left off, our party decided that the best way to respond to blackmail was a shopping trip. So they spent their last episode exploring the city of Kornsberg, gathering what supplies they felt they would need to face whatever threat was coming up. So, with all that in tow, and after a short stint traumatizing a young orphan by revealing that they may or may not have had a hand in her father's death, and then leaving her in the care of Valerica's family, they decided to return to Bloxpert after having snuck around. At which point, after all of their convening, they were discovered and interrupted by a contingent of royal guards and the emissary that had been blackmailing them. So, our party is now within the tavern that they had co-opted and broken into to take shelter in, with a contingent of armed guards and the emissary impatiently waiting for a response of whether they're going to comply or risk a potential international incident and be considered war criminals. So that's where we begin.
I was gonna say, when you screw up, you might as well do it big.
Yeah.
Can we get a primer on where everybody is right now? Because I know some of us are in the mansion, some of us are out of the mansion. I don't know where everybody is.
My notes say that everyone is currently outside of the mansion.
No.
You had no?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, not from last time. So from
who's in then?
last, Thurgle knocked out. He passed out quite literally and
That's
sadly
right.
on the hearth. Valerica had already popped back into the mansion. I was going to try to, but I was waiting for Liv to get in first, and we did not make it in.
Oh, that's right, because, there was only supposed to be a small handful of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Done, Crystal.
Yeah, note taker extraordinaire. Oh, could have watched
right.
last episode too, but okay. So, those of you who are outside of the mansion, you see before you the the Imperial Guard and emissary Zoran waiting, his assassin standing nearby. Well,
You don't practice patience in this part of the world, do you?
patience doesn't get the results.
Valid. Yeah. Oop.
No, you're
Go ahead.
speaking.
After you.
Go. By all means, speak.
Thank you. I'm more charismatic than you are. I'll take the lead here. We're going to help you. I don't know why you're in such a rush.
I think when we get to the city, you'll understand why I'm in such a rush.
You're a professional, but this situation's pretty serious, isn't it?
Well, there's no point in lying. Yes. It is fairly serious. And, well, our plans to travel back have changed slightly. So, we do need an answer a little sooner than the 24 hours I gave you.
Our intent is to be of service. We couldn't leave a people, even one that is a politically challenged people. I'll leave it at that. In such dismay, we're happy to have it.
Well, you can see this kind of smug and satisfied grin falls over his face. I'm glad you have seen reason. So, the rest of your companions, where are they?
Oh, just back inside, preparing, getting ready. We expected a hard journey. We're just taking inventory of our supplies and getting our spellcraft ready, and just preparing for what we imagine will be a challenging venture.
Well, I would expect it to be so. So, if you would call them, I will have a circle prepared.
We're teleporting.
Well, unfortunately, the situation demands it. So, yes.
Well, that's convenient. All right. Yes, I'll be right back. And I'll head back inside and close the door very obviously.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
So I guess we're leaving now, everyone.
Oh, God.
Did you get us into more trouble or something?
Why is everyone thinking this is my fault? I'm the one that was blackmailed here. I was trying to be helpful and collect our money, and this was a side effect.
Oh, God. Okay. So right now, of us, who still needs to rest? Who's legitimate? Okay, you have already died. You're already collapsed on the stone floor somewhere. I don't know exactly what you're doing.
I was going to say poor Thorgal probably needs to be carried the whole way.
God, teleportation. I can't.
Okay, I'm ready to go, so I have no need to rest. We can go.
Does somebody want to tell Valerica?
Pull out my sending stone. Valerica, apparently we have to leave now. You better grab Thea. It's time.
How long does it take to attune to the mansion? Because I am not attuned.
About an hour.
Well, I don't have that time. Score. You know, Uther, did you want to ask him for an hour or two?
I got the distinct impression that was not an option.
Ah, fantastic.
I'm gonna respond. Got it. We'll be out in a minute. Pin, I'm gonna go check on Thurgle. Is Thurgle actually out?
I am probably in middle of floor, just lying face down.
You still have that point of exhaustion, right?
Yes, still.
I'm just gonna like tap on the door, see if he moves.
Oh, this is like common area. I did not make it to my room.
Got it. I'm gonna like tap. I'm gonna like kick the bottom of his foot a little bit, like lightly, like that kind of like move.
Is he breathing?
Okay. Man overboard. Yes.
Are you fit to travel, or do you need to sleep in here?
What year is it?
Yes. You answered my question.
Okay.
Get to your room.
Or not.
Oh, room. I have room. Yes, I do. All right. Stumble on.
I'm gonna have one of the constructs help him up to his room.
Okay, that's totally fine.
And I'm gonna.
Incidentally, the year is 1567. Just so you're aware.
I'm gonna knock on Thea's door.
Yes, who is it?
Valerica, apparently we're leaving now.
Oh, great. Who messed things up?
Give you 3 guesses. I'm gonna leave Thurgle here. Let's meet at the teleportation circle and head out.
Let's do this, yes.
Okay, so Thurgle, you're staying in, right? All right, fantastic. Okay, the rest.
I'm gonna grab a few of the one-use items from the armory.
Okay,
and slip them into my bag on the way out.
cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. Which one?
The dragon scale. And I'm gonna get Uther's hammer and bring it out to him.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so you pop back into existence in the inn. Uther and the others are all waiting outside. Can get the sense that there's a little bit more tension in the air than there was before.
So why?
So, whatever the situation is that they have blackmailed us into helping them with, I think it's a heck of a lot worse than they let on. This emissary keeps trying to play it cool, but he seems like he's trying to get us there yesterday. I'm half expecting the city to be burned down when we arrive.
Right. There was something that I caught when Sparks was watching in the room when you guys were in there. He said that they have the government has lost connection with the mages of this land. That
That's
means
right.
any and all spellcraft is going to be highly valuable to them. So I suggest operating with that in mind. I don't have a lot of other options besides spellcraft due to the nature of my studies, so we just have to be tactical about when we show our hand.
Actually, to be fair, now that you mention that, I'm slightly concerned that we're not actually going to help them with something and that we might be walking into a trap.
I'm very sure we are. And I'm going to hand Uther his hammer.
I
in case
forgot.
you need it.
Stick it in my inventory.
Go.
And the other thing that we have, we have a slender shard of ruby smeared with crimson blood. I'm going to toss that to Liv. This grants immunity to poison. And we also have a platinum shard that Valerica pulls out engraved with like geometric patterns. And I'm going to toss that to Selima. That'll turn into a fireball. Careful where you throw it.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right, that should do it. I'm
out of
done being
curiosity.
silent with these people. So I'm going to go introduce myself. And I'm
As
just gonna
yourself,
go, who else am I going to be?
I know.
I'm glad
but
you
I'm-
said something because I was wondering how we were going to handle that whole thing.
Because at that point, you have a beautifully crafted mask too. Reminds me of someone we traveled with prior, but still.
Shame. I think I left it in my room.
Darn. Sure, not intentionally.
And I'm just going to go like throw open the door.
Okay. You throw open the door. You see a full kind of contingent of Imperial like soldiers. The emissary standing there, his assassin kind of hanging back, and you see what has to be some kind of a spellcaster seems to have rolled out an incredibly large, like thick, like and we're talking massive, like maybe 15 by 15, like tarp of thick, heavy leather, and is currently drawing a teleportation circle onto it.
I'm going to walk out right behind Valerica. Based on the knowledge that I've picked up about teleportation circles and things, now can I tell the address that they're trying to basically draw with this? Do I recognize it? Logging it for keen mind info for later. Noted.
Okay, sounds good. I'll keep that in mind.
I'm going to march over and go introduce myself.
See, the emissary kind of looks at you for a sec, kind of looks you up and down. And who are you?
Countess Valerica Indrik of Shadowfen. And you are?
Emissary Zoran. It's good to meet you. I was not expecting a dignitary. This makes this far more interesting.
Considering the blackmail, yes, it does.
I'm sure you understand the delicacy of a foreigner. No less a foreign noble killing a government official in the foreign land.
It's a good thing I didn't do it.
Perhaps. We'll see what the Emperor has to say when you complete this task.
I'm going to step really close to his face. Do not think yourself so mighty as to besmirch me or my family's name. You are nothing. This country is meaningless. And once I'm done, I'm going to see you run through. And I'm going to turn on my heel and walk over the teleportation circle.
Okay. Roll intimidation check.
Ooh.
Can I assist her in that so that I'm like grabbing a weapon and looking menacing standing behind her shoulder?
Sure.
16.
16? Okay. As you turn to look away, he's placid-faced expression. You catch the slightest glimpse of a smirk. And as you turn, you see Liv, hand drawn. Liv, you feel the cold, cold steel of a dagger at your throat. And Valerica, you see the assassin standing behind her. You're not entirely sure how they got there. You were certain they were in
Broad
your line of
daylight?
sight. Broad daylight. Kind of gloomy, but broad daylight.
Broad daylight.
Liv, you hear in your ear a whisper from the assassin. Don't forget, there is always somebody watching.
Oh, good lord, these people. Fucking hell.
So Uther's gonna come stomping out from just inside the inn where he
Mhm.
was kind of hanging out.
Sure.
Walk straight up behind the assassin and go, I can tell you're a sneaky one, but let me tell you, this close, sneakiness will not save you from me.
I'm going to take that opportunity of him coming up behind him to elbow him in the stomach.
Okay.
Slip out.
Roll an attack.
Alright.
An armored attack, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's unarmed strike. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage, but it might do something.
I just want to gain some separation from a knife at my throat.
Yeah, that's fair.
13.
13. Okay, so as you kind of jam your elbow back trying to catch him in any kind of soft spot, the stomach, the solar plexus, anything, he just kind of pivots and just almost dances around and just avoids your attack. It's a little close, but it's fast.
Oh, Liv's pissed now. She's got a personal vendetta against this fucker.
All right.
I'll put my hand on Liv and say, I think perhaps now's not the time.
Oh, don't worry. This time I actually do have some patience. I'm gonna fuck him up later.
I'm
Pick
gonna
a number.
slip out of the tavern and go. Well, we've all met. Fantastic.
The emissary kind of inclines his head. Indeed. But if you'll wait but a moment, the circle should be complete soon.
I'm committing the circle to memory too.
Roll an intelligence check for me, please.
Straight intelligence?
Yeah.
14.
14? Okay.
Not Arcana?
This is just memory.
Okay, 14. Do I feel confident that I know it?
Yeah, little bits and pieces. You know, you're fairly sure that you can identify where the what the origin is supposed to be. You'll probably get another look at it when you see the circle on the other side. This is more of a temporary circle.
Completely forgets. I'm right there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get to the other circle, you'll definitely have a chance to actually see what the destination circle looks like, and that'll be far more helpful for you because this is just a temporary one.
As we're waiting, Valerica's gonna call out. So, where are you taking us?
We will be going to the capital. Capital of Garavia.
Does it have a name?
Curie.
Thank you.
Can you spell that for me?
Cury.
Cury.
Yeah.
Can you use it in a sentence?
What is the definition?
I am going to be taking you to the capital city of Curie to solve a problem.
Right,
Two
and
sentences.
what, pray tell, is your problem?
Then
For
what
I have only heard your story secondhand.
The imperial capital is under, let's say, an assault. Nightmares
From?
plague the citizens. the king grows, the emperor grows paranoid and watchful. And, well, we uncovered something in the catacombs that has proven to be difficult to handle.
And what did you uncover?
Truthfully, we don't really know.
Can you describe it in any capacity?
Those who survive and are not driven mad describe walls made of flesh and strange creatures roaming those twisted corridors.
What do they describe the creatures to look like? Did they bear any similarity to the creatures around these parts?
None as such. These seem to be new. Or at least, they don't seem to be present within the capital. But who knows what's developed in the time it took us to travel here.
Given
May
my
I ask
traversing in the
how
Underdark,
many eyes those creatures
I did not ask how many eyes they had.
given my traversing through the Underdark in my
Yeah.
past and stuff, would I recognize something being described this way?
Roll a nature check.
$25.
25? Okay. There are a lot of creepy things in the Underdark. It's really an entirely separate alien world, to be blunt. There's a lot of things that kind of lurk and hide underground. A lot of very kind of horrifying monstrosities and aberrations, though walls made of flesh sounds a bit unusual. Doesn't seem to fit any ecology that you know, that you've experienced. You've run into or heard stories of creatures that live in the Underdark. I mean, you are aware of things like, beholders or abeloths or, cave dwelling, goblinoids or, any number of things that could live underground, but this sounds a little unusual to you. It's
Fantastic.
definitely atypical. Like, you've never heard of walls of flesh underground before.
Lovely.
Side note to DM, just as a reminder too, since we're going into a place where people are having lots of weird nightmares and such, I am still currently attuned to my ring of mind shielding.
Perfect. Ring of Mind shielding it is. Got it. Understood.
I don't like giving Cunningham too much heads up because I feel like then he's going to disarm whatever your defense is and come up with something hideous to do to you.
Oh, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to know anything about us. Admitting doesn't really do anything.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
It's just honesty.
That's fair. I'm gonna throw at you what I throw at you, I suppose. If you guys beat it because you have, superior strategy or magic items, then awesome. If you don't, then that sucks. Okay, so do you have any specific things that you want to ask about or discuss before you leave? You've only got maybe 2 minutes before the circle's complete.
A long time drawing a circle.
10 minutes.
So, is there any useful information you can share about the type of whatever you've uncovered? Any of the types of nightmares specifically? Have people been speaking to any deities or hearing any voices?
Mostly nightmares surrounding issues of being observed or watched, being plagued
I'm
by...
gonna shoot everybody a glance when he says that.
And I'm just going to groan. Oh.
You've heard of these things
It had to
before.
be related.
You've experienced things like this before?
Nightmares? I've had a few nightmares.
Nightmares of a supernatural kind.
I've never experienced one, no.
Well, People
What
also
about-
experience hallucinations, and many of the ones who come out, how you say, be touched in the head, seem to be obsessing over their past misdeeds.
Any misdeed genre in general? Adultery,
Nothing in
lying,
particular.
stealing.
Nothing in particular. Ranges from the most mundane to the most severe. Mind you, it's hardly anything to go off of with the sanity in question.
Right, and when you... I'm gonna give you a phrase, and I'm curious to know if you have any history of it, or any of your scholars have done any research into something called the Lord of Eyes, or the All-Seeing.
His brow kind of furrows and he's quiet for a moment.
I want an insight check.
That's fair. Go for it. There have been whispers in some
10.
of the mad ramblings from those who come out.
Right. And do you expect that you have located the source of this? Or unleashed it in any capacity?
Unleashed? No. Discovered the source? I can only hope.
This entity proclaims to be a god.
Then I suppose you'll have your work cut out for you. Ah, and it looks like the circle is done.
Before we go, I have a follow-up question, though. Here's what you've given us about the being that we're going to be encountering. Fine. But all you've said is underground. What is it like? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it wet? Is it dry? Is it rocky? What are we going to be encountering in our terrain when we go in?
I will give you a brief when we go through the portal, please. There's limited time.
You step through first, then.
He kind of shrugs and walks through. Just poof, disappears.
I wait for the entire army. All of his subordinates to go through.
Okay.
I would like
Several
to make
of
a
them
special
start
point of
walking.
before the assassin and flipping him off as I walk in.
You notice the assassin is walking. There's a contingent of guards that takes off and goes in a different direction, probably towards the carriages that they brought. Doesn't seem like they were all intended to go through this teleportation circle. A couple of them go through. A few look like they're waiting for each of you to go through, the assassin included.
I'll step in.
Okay. Valerica steps in. Everyone else?
I'm
I
gonna go in
follow
after.
immediately after Lady Indric.
Okay, fantastic. You all, one by one, into a once opulent, but now tarnished and unused looking hall. The permanent circle of teleportation etched into the floor. And cobwebs in the corners. Thick layer of dust on everything. Looks as though this place has not been used in a very long time. You see the emissary standing at a large set of kind of double doors and guards flanking on either side.
Human?
For the most part, yeah. Human, maybe half elf. They're wearing helms, so kind of hard to tell.
So, like, plate armor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't afford a maid emissary?
We do not have many people teleport in. Security risk.
Sounds
Like I
like an
said.
excuse.
Like I said, situation is dire. Come. He opens the double doors leading into a kind of a large hallway, maybe 20 or so feet wide, pretty far down. Torchlight along the walls. A slight scent of like smoke has started to fill the air. That kind of burn smell from torches.
We follow.
Okay. Eventually, you're led through this hallway. No windows or anything. It's all kind of closed in.
there like a runner rug?
No tapestry.
Kind of a tattered runner. Go ahead and make a perception check. What's up, Liv?
I was going to ask more about because you said it was once opulent. I was wondering if there was any like paintings or markings on the wall that would indicate anything.
Go ahead and make a perception as well. What'd you get, Valerica?
7.
7? Okay.
Total 19.
19? Okay. Valerica, you almost blinded at this point by your frustration and consternation of the situation. You're
Very fair.
mostly focused, staring daggers at the back of this man's skull. Hoping that a fire spontaneously combusts under his hat. Liv, you looking around, you do notice that there's kind of an old, like tattered, almost moth-eaten kind of runner that you're all walking on. You know, it's kind of heavy footfalls are puffing up bits of dust. There are a few kind of tapestries, you know, ornate but a little austere. You know, kind of harsher, more jagged line work. Everything's very faded. It's difficult to see what, if anything, is portrayed on them. If it's just patterns, if it doesn't look like there's any like story tapestries here. There are a few paintings, landscapes, a couple of very regal looking individuals. Each of them kind of wearing the same regalia. Looks like former rulers, perhaps. Looking around, this looks like this at one point was a receiving hall for distant kind of dignitaries or visitors that has since been kind of left abandoned. There's, like I said, cobwebs kind of everywhere. There's dust everywhere. It's mostly unused. And it doesn't look like anyone has wanted to use this in a good number of years.
And there's no like other than like torches and things. There's no like fixtures on the walls or like weird little side table things.
No, it looks like everything here is kind of decorative. There's torches. There's nowhere like to sit. There's nowhere to dwell. It's really just kind of a room that you guys teleported into, and then a hallway. You can see little niches where there would have been like guards or bannermen kind of standing there, you know, all regal. You've seen this kind of thing before in more, you know, noble or royal environments, but it looks like it's been kind of long abandoned. But as you guys are kind of walking through, you are led through kind of this heavy set of wooden doors, you know, like big iron banded things. You emerge to the site of a very large, very dense city on the coastline, which you knew that from where you were was about a week's travel, you know, maybe 8 or so days up the road. A massive keep sits nearby. You can see it is likely the Imperial Palace, kind of these tall spires, kind of looming ominously. And much like Bluxpert, it is cold, it is wet and damp, and there is a thick fog that just kind of hangs on everything. Where, you know, many of you are kind of more used to warmer, more temperate coastal towns. You know, there's always that chill in a coastal, kind of like a coastal city. But you're used to kind of the more temperate environment. This is grim and gloomy, and the entire environment feels very heavy. And as you kind of walk, you can look at you see the kind of ramshackle buildings that look in varying states of repair and disrepair. Some of them look like they've been well maintained, others a lot less so. For a city this size, you would expect to see a lot more people. But it seems as though the majority of the humanoids that you see wandering the streets are more Imperial guards or a city watch, bearing the same kind of the same symbols and the same kind of armaments, but in more like padded armors and things, less like guards and more like, I mean, less like royal guards, more like town watch kind of thing. You get this heady scent of ocean spray, refuse, a couple of wood fires from nearby houses, and it's strangely quiet. What's up, Liv?
You said there is it looks like there should be more people,
Mhm.
but considering where we just came from, are there any animals to be seen or heard in this city?
Make another perception check.
Are we being led to our destination or are we just kind of wandering through?
It looks as though the emissary is walking with purpose. And the guards falling into kind of a regimented line, kind of flanking you guys on either side. Doesn't seem to be a meander, it seems to be focused. Yeah. What'd you get?
An 8.
8? Okay. Looking around, kind of taking stock, you don't see any animals. You don't hear them. Like no back alleys that you've passed by, you might expect to see, dogs or, strays of some kind. You don't really see anything. You don't see any bees, flies, birds, like nothing that you might expect to see kind of wandering around the city at any point.
No flying packs of vampirous mosquitoes.
Doesn't look like it. Not that you
going
can
to-
see or hear.
I'm going to think about that out loud to the group and be like, I noticed there's not any animals here either.
You hear the emissary from the front. Yes, that is an ordinance from the Emperor. No animals permitted anywhere within city limits, or 10 miles within.
Did he ever tell you why?
No, and I know better than to question the orders of an emperor.
Ah, yes, blind obedience, the mother of innovation and success.
Obedience to those who rule rightfully is safety and security.
Out of curiosity, do I notice that whether or not the houses are being guarded, like people are being forced to stay inside, as if like quarantined in house arrest?
Make another perception check.
17.
17. Looking around it, you notice a few buildings kind of bear markings. You're not sure what they mean, but a few of them have kind of like these big kind of swatches of bright paint over their doors. A couple of like the same ones kind of have boarded up windows, and the doors have been kind of sealed shut. A couple more buildings have guards kind of posted outside of them. You get the sense that there may be some restrictions of movement right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As you walk forward, you walk towards the Imperial Palace. And the kind of heavy gates of the outer wall of the keep open. The massive portcullises, guards kind of all watch you. Not suspiciously, but wearily. They all look exhausted and downtrodden. Almost every one of them. They're all
Have they
doing
been
their...
not sleeping?
Few of them look like it's been a long time since they've had a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
The emissary, as you walk, speaks to each of you, or to all of you. So, until the task is done, you will not meet with the Emperor. You will be provided with limited food and supplies. Your task is to enter the Undercity and then reach the catacombs that are under the Imperial Palace. You will then proceed to where these holes of flesh first appear. You will clear the way for our troops to set up camp and forward bases. Kill anything that you find inside. And I mean anything that you find inside. If
And
it
for
is,
this, how much am I going to be paid?
we will talk about a reward being considered when the task is complete.
Try again.
Yeah, that wasn't the deal, emissary. You promised payment.
Very well.
We may be brave, we may be strong, but we're not stupid.
Or cheap.
Or cheap.
The man speaks truth.
Very well. You were paid for your task completed in Bloxburg. I will offer you twice the amount for each of you.
To kill
So
a god?
1,000 gold each.
We'll start there. Depending on how the task goes and what you find and just how dangerous it gets, we'll consider adding more to that.
Last time the three of us did a delve in catacombs, we got paid 25,000 gold each.
Good for you.
So, that's not where I start in my negotiation.
Also, you literally can't even get this under control with an entire army. You need us.
Then make a counteroffer.
25,000 gold each.
Roll a persuasion check.
For the record,
Can I do it with
wouldn't-
advantage?
Why?
that's not the real number, that right? That's a bluff.
No, that's true.
Well, that was absolutely true. That was the mission where we got sent to a plane of water existence.
Where you guys got chased by the giant thing or whatever.
Yeah. Didn't go
Okay,
well for
so-
them.
Advantage because Liv is chiming in and helping me.
Hell
And
yeah.
because both she and I are very strong in perception.
Sure, sure.
I was saying my persuasion is a plus 12. So, you know.
You didn't know that.
You don't want my persuasion.
So that's going to be a 17.
17. He looks at you. He cracks what almost looks like a genuine smile, a brief moment of mirth. Kind of falls on this. It looks almost uncomfortable and painful with the amount of like discontent he's had. 10 each.
18.
10 each.
How much is sleep for your men worth to
18.
you?
I can repeat myself too. Or does, please explain to me so I'm not just sitting here arguing with you, does that conclude the persuasion portion of this conversation?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I'll chime in when I
And
can.
18.
I lean over to Valerica and I whisper, have you looked at this place? They might not be able to afford that.
I don't break eye contact with him.
12. Or we have you arrested, thrown in the dungeons, and we'll toss you into this pit whenever we feel like it.
Oh,
With
they
no
promised
payment.
time.
Kind of glance over the group to get a consensus of like, are we good with 12 each?
Liv just starts laughing a little bit because literally this man just said they're desperately in need of our help and then won't pay us more and then would throw us in the fucking pit where he won't have our help and he'll be back to square one. I don't understand how he thinks this is a negotiation tactic.
Uther's gonna make he's trying way too hard at acting like that's not a really big number to him, and he's like, fine.
Like I said, to start.
12 to start. Agreed.
If this turns out to be nothing that a few of you very strong adventurers can't handle without problems, then I don't think it's worth all that payment. But if it's something that proves to be more challenging, then we'll talk about more.
Also, you do value life. That's news.
12,000 gold is a great place to start.
Hmm.
You could have done that and not tried to blackmail us, and we might have come willingly.
Uther's gonna hold up his hand like he wants to talk.
Yes, Uther.
How about you send Sneaky McStabby Pants here with us? What's he doing up here? Nothing useful, I bet.
I find him to be plenty useful.
Is he afraid he won't have anything to sneak up on and stab in the back down there? You have to fight something face to face? And I'm gonna look at the assassin and just go,
Kind of see at this point staring at you, kind of this slight flash of entertainment in the assassin's eyes. Don't worry. I'll send him if I need to.
Sure you will.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, ooh, must be nice.
He has his job and you have yours.
I swear.
So, to recap, reach the Undercity, clear for the troops, and kill anything we find. Anything past that.
Well, let's see. If you find any of our people that might have been lost, well, make sure they stay lost.
I was going to say, I caught that earlier. You sent platoons of soldiers down there, and you said kill everything. You want your own people murdered?
If they are not among the troops that come in after you, then they are not among our people anymore.
Great. I recommend marking the troops that come in after with a different type of sigil so it becomes a little bit more straightforward because things get a little bit tense when I'm shooting in the dark.
Make a deception check.
Shit! I got so close to saying it.
That's a really good idea because this one likes to burn everything.
Fucking hell, did you actually say that, Uther?
Yes, he did. Roll a deception check.
Oh, you giant oaf!
Hey, she messed up first.
I did not say
I
anything.
like her.
Yeah, but
And
he's
that is a 13.
13.
Fuck.
But who knows? Maybe fire will prove useful.
Considering you don't have any magic, anything's going to be useful for you right now, isn't it?
I find it interesting you think we have no magic, considering we just teleported you here.
On a hunk of leather.
It's very handy.
I've dealt with infernals that could sneeze something prettier.
We are not infernal.
Valerica laughs openly at that. That's awesome.
Well, as you guys continue on, you get to this large building. It's a huge palace. Kind of this old looking stone. Surprisingly, like most of the architecture here, very similar to what you would find in Albanor. Very similar kind of style of architecture. A lot more kind of darker colors,
Gothic.
a little more gothic, but very similar architecture. Makes sense considering the names are much closer to those you would find in Albanor anyway.
So it's wannabe Albanor.
Roll a history check.
It's Albanor Light.
It's Albanor Light.
Albanor.
Nat 20.
Natural 20? Okay.
Yeah.
As-
So that's a total of 23.
23? Okay. As you're looking around and kind of taking stock of everything, you do remember some of your old history lessons, some of the more boring ones. This did used to be a part of Albanor's territory a couple hundred years ago. In one of the dozens of wars that happened, it was claimed by a former neighboring nation before Caravia took independence from itself, or for itself, I should say.
Okay. Okay.
More accurately, because you got a natural 20. More accurately, they ended up in the same war getting cut off from the rest of their kingdom and kind of remained isolated for a while, and still are.
Good to know.
That explains the crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy,
Yes.
You're asleep.
all of you who are outside get this weird kind of prick at the back of your neck, hairs kind of on end. Can't help but kind of look over your shoulders as you feel like there are many eyes upon you.
Does it feel very familiar?
Very familiar.
I'm gonna look over at Thurgle and be like,
He's
This
asleep.
is
in the
totally-
He's not
mansion.
here.
He's
He's
looking
still
in my
here.
pocket. Yeah.
right. Okay, so I'll look over at Thea. I'll go, this is totally creepy eyeball guy.
All right.
I feel like Thea would like to respond. However, I'm still upset that I feel like Uther got us in this position right now. That's all I can think about in this moment.
Blame Uther. Blame Uther.
Here's the thing about blackmail. It happens against your will. That's how it works. That's why it's
No, I'm
blackmail.
pretty sure it's intentional and malicious.
Totally. Totally.
It would crack me up if Uther secretly turned out to be the bad guy behind all this.
That'd be so funny.
Be great. So,
Watching it mind controlled and kill us all. It's gonna be stellar.
Are we not?
as you approach, you go to you come to a section of the grounds in the keep that have been heavily cordoned off. You can see barricades have been erected recently. The wood looks a little more, fresh, and the earth is a little more disturbed. Definitely looks like it has not been here for very long, maybe a couple months at most. Heavy kind of guard presence. There are several tents set up, and what look like it looks almost like a mausoleum, open, and kind of a flight of stairs descending down, kind of at the center of all of this. You all, as you kind of set your eyes on it, get this weird kind of chill that comes over you. And the emissary leads you to one of the larger tents where you can see there are papers and scrolls and documents and letters kind of everywhere. So we've moved for their own safety. We've moved most of the troops away from this place. We've sent none in recently. For which you should be thankful. Their screams can be quite nauseating at times. So,
Liv asks him if can I take a look at these papers you have?
by all means.
I'm going to go through them as quickly as I can while committing as much of it to memory as possible.
Okay.
So what
Fair
kind
enough.
of-
As make an investigation check. Let's see what you can find in this amount of time as he's still talking. Like I said, 18? Okay. Like I said, there will be supplies provided. You have access to whatever is in this camp as far as food or travel equipment. To give you a rundown, as your friend is looking over the documents and she will testify to the veracity, you will be entering into the Undercity. You will eventually come to the catacombs. Deeper in the catacombs, you will find that slowly things start to turn to flesh. It is there when the troops have said that things cease to be real.
I'm going to attempt to also check out that map and study it too with my cartographer abilities and stuff.
Okay.
Hearing what he's saying, Liv's as she's going through, she's just gonna peek over. Now, do you mean the walls are made of flesh, or they've skinned people and put them on the walls?
It is difficult to ascertain the truth of these claims. Most who go in do not come back. Most who come back do not have their bones to themselves.
And what have your healers found of working with the mentally addled?
Some divine magics can cure them of this madness. Others require perhaps time.
Which divine magics in particular?
Restorations.
Understood.
So, as you're looking over the documents, you see it is a lot of them are kind of piecemeal information where you can see that for a long period of time, for at least a couple months, they've been trying to gather as much information about this place as possible. But reading over it already, you're seeing a lot of kind of conflicting information. as to the details, but there are a few things that do stand out. Looks like there are people. Most people who go in perish. Most who come out are driven insane. The few who are not insane are mostly hesitant to share what they've seen. But those who have reported the environment slowly being um, turned to flesh, bone and skin and muscle kind of protruding and essentially taking over the environment. A constant feeling of being watched, living walls and doors where it seems as though all manner of things, the environment itself is coming to life. A wide array of caustic traps, and dangerous environments, strange, kind of maybe relics, altar-like places that have kind of appeared that may have been taken over ceremonial altars from where the catacombs were. Strange kind of lumps of flesh that might have at one point been creatures or people that had been sent down there. One kind of doesn't say proven, but kind of unproven one is that there appear on a couple of occasions to be people who are moving freely within, without any issue. But before any of the soldiers sent down could track any down and maybe apprehend them or question them, they vanished very quickly, leading most of the conclusions in the official documents to say that they are merely one of the hundreds of hallucinations that people tend to experience down there.
So, from the fact that you guys keep saying that everyone's coming out crazy, how can you confirm that the people who haven't come out are actually dead?
Truth be told, we cannot.
Good to know.
Valeria?
As Liv is sorting through some of the papers,
Mhm.
I pull out a piece of parchment from my bag and actually write up a contract
Okay.
with value negotiations starting at 12,000 gold per adventure. List out each of our names.
Okay.
And I'm going to write in there that we are to reach the Undercity and clear it for the troops and kill anything we come in contact with.
Okay. Sounds good.
Just a standard adventure
Yeah, standard
agreement.
adventuring contract. That's fine.
And I'm going to bring it over to him.
Kind of reads over it. Do you have a quill still?
Yeah.
He
I'll
reaches
offer
out his
it to him.
hand, signs it without a problem. If it makes you feel better.
It does.
I recommend that you move quickly. Even being in presence of this place that warp the mind. As you kind of look at him, his composure has started to drop slightly. He's getting jittery and like sooner he gets away from you.
Understood. So are we at like the door to go
You're
forward?
at the door to go in.
Approximately what time of day is it?
Keen mind over here. It's like a full day of.
We teleported.
Yeah,
And
but
we
you also
came
did
back
like
in the morning.
you left that morning, came back kind of mid-afternoon, teleported about mid-afternoon then. So maybe 3 or 4. So it's getting dark because it's, winter and now you're much further north. So it's getting dark.
I turn to the group and I ask them, I'm like, all right, guys, so I know he's tired, but do you think that we might want to Urgle?
I'm sure we can rest when we need to. I'm just going to pat her on the back.
Okay.
Once the soldiers set up the camp or something like that, then we'll rest.
I don't think the idea is that any of the soldiers or company here will be joining us as we go down. But it was lovely meeting you all. Where can we find you when we're done?
Send one of the soldiers. They'll come get.
Wonderful.
Well, I wish you luck. You're going to need it. Pray to whichever gods you follow, or none at all.
Oh, don't get that argument started up in this group.
Not worth it.
Please don't.
That is
Oh
a
my.
debate for you. All I'm saying is you'll need every bit. Possibly.
So on
Appreciate your
on that note, Uther's gonna just kind of like start jumping up and down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
then like slap himself a couple of times, and just start like shouting real loud, like "Woo!" like getting real fired up.
Getting pumped up. Got it.
And he's gonna go around to like the little random soldiers that don't know him at all and don't really probably like him and haven't slept in 3 days. He's gonna like start slamming them on the shoulder pads and like getting a little ant. And then
Okay.
he's like, "Okay, I'm ready. All right, we're good."
They're kind of stumbling and trying to recompose them. These ones are all now like in kind of padded armor. So
I feel like the 4 women are just standing at the entrance watching him do this. Like the fuck.
Damn, I wish I was awake.
I'm trying to like give the look to all of you guys. Like, is he always like this?
Totally appropriate reaction. Yeah.
Salima, you're leading?
I'll lead.
Yeah. After you then.
okay. So you descend down the steps into what is not an unfamiliar sight for many of you. Exploring dungeons and caverns and catacombs is not a super unfamiliar thing for most people. I mean, even Thea has had to deal with the necropoli that are under the Grand Temple of going under there and burying the dead and all those things. It looks very much so like a place where the dead would be carried to their final kind of resting place. A number of cities throughout the world that you've kind of been to have these same kinds of places, usually like royal burial grounds where dynasties and dynasties and dynasties of kings and queens and emperors and rulers have all been kind of buried over time. As you kind of go down the surprisingly spacious and well-hewn brickwork and stone, you can see like the niches for ashes or offerings are all there. They eventually start kind of descending downward bit by bit. It's kind of long, almost processional spiral. You can see the years of tradition kind of sprinkled in and amongst the place. It's cold and damp down here. Very kind of musty scent about the place. It's a fairly unpleasant place to be, but thus far, mostly mundane. Anything you guys want to look for, or do you just want to keep going?
Is the air getting like damp and musty as we go in?
Or
Or is it dry?
a little more so? It's a
Is
little
it
more
warm or cold?
still cold. Still pretty chilly.
I would like to be constantly looking out for like the glint of like the shine that you see on eyeballs in the dark.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say quickly. I'm just gonna suggest. So, just a thought, guys. It's not something I do very often because the ingredients are very expensive. But Lady Valerica, you picked up that gem-encrusted bowl. Do we think a hero's feast would help us currently before we encounter whatever the name of
Not yet.
Not yet. You want to wait? Okay.
I think we need to do some reconnaissance and make some observations, gather back up in the tower tonight, and formulate a game plan because, frankly, they don't have any idea what we're dealing with, and neither do we. Also, I recommend, if you are concerned about madness, making some notes for yourself throughout this process so you have your own train to run back through. And Valerica kind of like taps the notebook that's mounted on her belt.
Valerica, do our constructs inside our mansion, would they be able to alert us if Thurgle starts having some nightmares or something while inside.
Not at all.
But it's another plane of existence. Would it be affected by what's going on here?
Probably not. Doorways don't tend to leach through. So if we start feeling madness, I suggest we simply put somebody in the mansion and let them cool off for a bit. Seems to be a temporary thing that is restored through madness is cured through restoration magic of religious folk, which means, based off my understanding, either lesser or greater restoration should stave off any of the lingering side effects.
Then we should be
And
good.
I look at Thea and Uther like, you guys got this, right?
I suppose I can take a break from hitting things and heal every once in a while.
I'm going to turn to Valerica and say, you bought those potions, right?
I did. And I'll pass out the potions.
Okay.
We got a ton of potions, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Right, just let me know.
Okay.
How many do you want?
I gave 500, so I don't care. Whatever is feasible.
How many potions do you have?
Currently, in my inventory, I have... Come on. I have a potion of greater healing.
We have 5 potions of greater healing and 6 small potions of healing.
I have none currently.
You can
I
have
only
a
have one.
greater and a regular.
Yeah, I only have one potion of greater healing.
I'll give you a regular and give regular to Uther and Thea as well.
Have you guys stopped or are you progressing as you're doing this?
We're progressing.
Okay. As you're kind of handing out your potions, divvying up your supplies,
Is it dark in here? I'm
it's
sorry,
really dark.
Okay, I'm
It's
pulling out
pitch black.
sparks.
There's no source of light down here.
Pulling out sparks, light can't trip,
Okay.
and we have a glowing dragon leading the way.
Okay. As the light radiates from sparks, you can see what is now an expansive kind of network of passages that branch off from kind of one like central path. But you can see, like niches that go off in each direction, filled with old like tombs and urns and altars and offering places. You're getting kind of the extent of the kind of necropolis that exists here.
Let me see if I have
I'm
anything that could guide us.
gonna need everybody to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Fantastic.
Except for Thurgle.
16.
16?
11.
11? Okay.
22. I rolled a 19.
Nice.
26. It's good to be a cleric.
Dude,
Yeah.
very nice.
Agreed. Thea has 28.
Nice. Okay, so Valerica and Liv, I need each of you to roll a d6, please.
Do I have to?
Mm-hmm.
3.
5.
5. Okay. Valerica, as you're walking through the catacombs, that sense of being watched overcomes you almost to an irrational degree. You feel as though there's an eye, a pair of eyes, however many eyes, someone is watching everything that you do. You are certain of. I'm gonna need you to add that as a flaw to your character.
To my character sheet?
Yes. Yes. You are now suffering from madness, and it takes the form of a flaw. Liv, as you're walking through it, the light from Sparks kind of catches at odd angles, casting strange oblong shadows, some of which seem to take form and shape and then disappear. The walls seem to shift, and what you thought was there wasn't, and you find yourself kind of bumping into something as you thought it was an open space. You do not trust your sight and struggle to identify what is real, what is hallucination. I'm going to need you to add that as a flaw to your character sheet as well.
Okay.
All right. When we GM, when we have to make these wisdom saving throws,
Yes.
do we feel like an oppressive sense of something invading us? Like, can we tell we're being besieged by something?
In this particular case, you do. You feel as you're progressing through this underground area, you feel the weight of the environment, the oppressive sense, like it's a presence that is very akin to the presence that you feel when you tap into your magic. It's that feeling of power that builds and billows and fills and tries to seep into your pores, knowing that it is alien to you and likely wishes you harm. You are able to guard yourself against it.
So Uther's gonna. Oh, go ahead, Valerica. Go for it.
Just an RP question.
Yeah.
Because there's different ways to interpret you feeling like someone's always watching you. I'm a noble, and I'm used to constantly being watched, so I can kind of just play this up as like strutting and being like all eyes are on me and play that into bravado, or is this intended in communication to be more like you are paranoid to the core of your being now? Or is it open?
You just believe that somebody's watching everything you do all the time.
Okay.
Okay. So the reason I asked that question, so feeling so that this oppressive environment, this evil magic attempting to affect our minds, Uther is going to be overcome with a need to protect his friends, and he is going to cast motivational speech.
Okay.
And he is going to say, friends, as we're walking through this dark, creepy place, as a man who lived on the peaks, the first time I found myself in such depths, I thought surely Tyrlin had forsaken me. But then I remembered a little known fact about lightning. Did you know that lightning comes not from the sky, but from the earth, and reaches up to the heavens? I would have you know that even in these dark, deep, dank, evil places, Tyrlin smiles upon us, and she knows that we are her chosen, and that we do her works. And I would have you have faith. So now, because of motivational speech,
That goes on for 10 minutes.
it goes on for an hour.
No,
No,
I'm
the casting time is it's
10
1
minute.
minute.
Oh, it's 1
It's a
minute.
spell.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
1
a
minute.
spell.
Yeah, it's a long speech.
That
It's
was
very
10
impassioned.
minutes. I was like,
It's very impassioned. This is,
I love it.
Spoke it very slow.
You
Yes.
spoke for about a minute. I like that. That was good.
Like
That was good
Yeah.
though. All right.
And so choose up to 5 creatures within range.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For the duration, each affected creature gains 5 temporary hit points. You now all have advantage on Wisdom saving throws.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, needed.
If you're hit by an attack, you have advantage on your next attack roll. The caveat is that once you lose your 5 temporary hit points, the rest of the spell stops working too.
Lasts for
Good
an
to
hour.
know. Good
That's
to
for
know.
now.
I will say, because bluntly, I'm actually just damn impressed with the Peter roleplay in that moment. Liv and Valerica, if you would like, you may take that advantage now to see if you can shake off the vestiges of madness.
I'm gonna take that advantage now. Because I already have shitty dark vision to begin with. So
21.
Uther's words are magical.
I'm still fucked.
Okay.
Is 21 enough?
Liv, you do feel inspired by the speech. You feel bolstered, more energetic, a little more sure. Still having some difficulty trying to track what's real and what's not. It's always just a question. It's not necessarily an obsession, but it's a question. It's like, should I check that? Is that real? Valerica, as you hear the speech, you feel the slight prickle of almost like static. And that feeling of being watched fades. It lingers in the back of your mind as a memory, but no longer as a madness. By but a hair's breadth.
DC 20.
DC 21.
Oh, damn. Uther, it's the craziest thing as you were talking. I've been obsessing. I keep feeling like something's been watching me, but as you were talking, it just passed. Thank you for your inspiring words, friend.
Kirlin brought me to you for a reason, Valerica. You are beloved of her, even if you worship your giant lizard god.
She is deeply appreciated.
You take 5
And
points of psychic damage from that.
There go the temporary
There go the
hit points.
temporary hit points.
Oh, shit.
All right.
As we're now, she's like feeling more bolstered. So, 12,000 gold each enough for you guys?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Is it a real god?
I had a hard time keeping a straight face. Did you guys ever really get paid 25,000 gold for a job?
Well,
Yeah.
I used to, but I ended up in a different realm. But I'm assuming they collected the money while I was gone because they're not
Oh
stupid.
no. She didn't pay your portion of it.
No, I'm saying I'm assuming you collected at least yours.
Oh, yeah, I got
I
mine.
wasn't there. I'm assuming I didn't get paid.
Yeah. She's gonna come back, I feel. You remember her, right?
Oh, you
So
mean no?
now's a good time to say it as any. I gave her a weapon of mass destruction because she had something shiny that I wanted.
Oh, that's how you got it. Great plan, Valerica. I love you and all, but that was really dumb.
She was also gonna kill us. It was a bit of a trade.
Oh, you mean just like I predicted from the very beginning? God, it would have been nice if anyone listened to me. Shit.
Yes.
By the way, the whole time this is happening, you see Liv, like her eyes are darting a lot more than she normally does to like.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Circle.
You know, Sprinkles is like going back and forth with you. Or Freckles.
I know the names are confusing. Don't stress.
Sure. Circle. You could go ahead and mark a long rest. That's fine.
All right.
And you can get rid of that. The exhaustion.
You know,
I'm gonna-
I am actually gonna I'm gonna lean over and whisper to Freckles and be like, "Watch my back." She's gonna be watching back me.
I'm going to be mindful about the footprints.
Mindful about the what?
The footprints of the soldiers of the past
Okay.
that have been through here,
Sure.
and what might have met up with them if it wasn't just madness on each other.
Okay. Cool. Make a survival check.
So as she's doing that, I've been trying to think of spells that I have that could aid us here. Just some to keep in mind. I do have the alarm spell. So we can set up alarms in various areas. Although I believe I can only have one active at a time. Right, GM?
I'm
One
sorry.
alarm spell
Oh,
active.
yeah.
So we do have that option, and I will be mentally alerted if something triggers it.
What's up, Thurgle?
19.
19 for you?
At this point, since I am now fully functioning as a dwarf, I am going to come out of the mansion.
Okay. You guys see
I
this
feel it vibrating.
flash and Thurgle. Yeah.
Good morning.
What the fuck did I miss?
Be quiet.
A lot. We are not in safe terrain.
Speaking of which, I am going to cast Pass Without a Trace
Okay.
around the crew.
All right. All of your footfalls become quiet as Pass Without Trace takes effect in the area. Selima, as you're watching, you do see the telltale signs of people having moved through this space. You can see what look like drag marks as well, kind of in the direction of where, of the entrance or exit at this point. You can see a very frenetic kind of mishmash of footprints, people running or stumbling or dragging their companions, like not orderly, not, it's not just busy, it's panicked. But they all look, I mean, at least the ones that you see look humanoid. They look like, standard issue kind of boots. Liv,
Yes.
you notice on the walls the mortar in between the bricks. It's taken on a slightly different tone, different color, and it seems to shift and warble slightly.
I was going to say, do I notice this or do I notice this?
You see it.
I don't know. And just so everybody knows, Pass Without a Trace gives you a +10 to your dexterity throws.
Oh,
Dexterity or just stealth? I think it's just stealth.
Stealth
a-
is a dexterity, so
Yeah,
it's
sorry, stealth.
Stealth, yeah.
yeah.
Stealth, not dexterity. My bad.
So if you guys sneak around, you're going to be a lot better off.
We can't be tracked. We don't leave any footprints. There's a veil of shadows and silence so that we can't be seen and heard easily.
Yeah.
As all of this is going on, I fill Thurgle in.
Okay.
So
And I'm
12,000.
gonna-
Your name is on the contract. For some reason, he didn't think to question that your name was on the contract. But there we go.
All right, we'll take it. Perfect. So, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Blame the giant one.
Thea certainly is.
Uther, this is your fault.
From now on, I dub you my grapes, because apparently you are all sour all the time.
I got 12,000 gold. I got each of us 12,000 gold each. I am fine wine at best.
I also
Thurgle, you missed a great speech. I was really impressive. It was one of my better moments. I'm sad you missed
It
it.
really was.
it
It
was.
It was.
It's a lovely speech.
So-
Also noting what's going on all over the floor around us. Madness looks like it's been setting in this area. So I would say to be mindful in that sense.
Hey, Thurgle,
Yes.
can you do me a favor? It
What
may
is-
seem a bit unconventional. I want you to go into our house, pull together some of the materials that we're walking around right now, and just build a holding cell. Because we don't have one, and if one of us actually loses it, that's our best bet.
So essentially, you want something big enough to hold Uther.
Yeah.
But bars close enough together that I can't slip out.
Uther, you're just one end of the spectrum. This is not a direct attack at you.
No offense, Uther. It has to
We
hold.
make it the size of Thurgle. Only
You're gonna have a bad time.
DM question.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trusting my sight. I'm having hallucinations of a mild nature so far, thankfully. Yeah. How does that affect my keen mind in like memorizing these tunnels and such?
How indeed. How indeed. Guess we'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah. You can only remember what you sense. Well, accurately, you can only sense what you sense. You can perceive what you sense, and you can remember what you perceive. So,
like, what time is it?
Maybe 4 or 5.
Wait, how did he get a long rest in?
He rested most of the day.
Okay, so it's still just about that time.
Yeah,
It's
technically a long rest is a period of 8 hours. Only about 6 hours need to be sleep. 2 of those hours can be low level activity.
Okay.
Luckily for mine, the full 8 was sleep.
Now, did I actually answer back with maybe 4 or 5? Because that would be an indicator.
No, you would have given a more precise answer. That is GM inaccuracy. That is DM inaccuracy. We'll call it 5. We'll call it 5.
Okay.
5:03 p.m.
Fine. 5:03. You know what? I'll make a note of it. Okay. 5:03 p.m. Do you want me to check the month and day too?
No.
Okay.
Thurgle's arm's gonna get tired though.
What's up, Thurgle?
So at this point, upon Valerica's request, I'm going to walk up to Uther and pull out my trident and sort of size him up with it.
Brilliant. I love it.
So,
You know this is upsetting me, right?
Yes, I'm aware. Just stick your fucking arms out.
Remember, length from fingertip to fingertip is the same as crown to heel.
Exactly, but I can't reach all the way to his head.
That's fair.
Make the gaps small and square too, just in case.
Small and square. All right.
Okay, I will be back. Bring up.
So like
to keep in mind our magics when you're building this.
Thurgle,
I can polymorph into anything.
You would be fairly familiar with how to make cages like this. So.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Having been in a few and having put people in a few, you were very familiar with makes and models.
So I'm going to go into the mansion and set forth my blessing of the forge to be able to create one.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Is it outside the house or in the house?
I will let you know.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like outside's really any different than inside. Like, it's all temperate. It doesn't rain. It doesn't. There's no inclement weather. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's different. I have a rock.
Liv, the mortar between the bricks seems to be getting more weird. Slightly bulbous. It's taking on a far more red hue to it. Everyone else, you're just starting to notice this too.
I'm gonna walk over and I'm not gonna touch it, but I'm going to I'm gonna make it
don't eat it.
That I'm walking over to look at this
Then
and be
don't eat it.
Okay.
Do not eat it. Not food. Not here.
You already ate the soldiers' rotten crackers. You're good for now.
I didn't say I was going to eat it. I'm just trying to figure out why it's red. Do you see this? Am I crazy? And you see the red.
I see the red.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are now starting to see that the mortar in between all the bricks is now this kind of. It now looks like it's like you see it seeping out mortar in between bricks. You know, like it squished mortar down and it kind of seeps out. It looks a little more like that, but it's now taking on this kind of soft reddish.
Detect magic.
Okay.
Do I see anything?
Yeah, there's a fair amount of kind of ambient magic in the environment.
Okay. Do I see the wall mortar being magical?
A little more so. No one particular school, but a little more magical than the environment itself. Yeah, seems to be definitely under the influence of magic.
What type?
No school in particular.
Just ambient magic.
Mm-hmm. You could guess at a few things, but there's no this is not like a studied school of magic of how to turn brick into flesh, other than polymorph. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, it's not a transmutation.
Out of curiosity, does it smell like flesh? Because I've hunted a lot. Does it
Yeah.
have that smell?
So yeah, you guys notice that it started to get much warmer. And it does smell a lot less musty and a lot more like fresh.
All right, I have a proposal.
And a slight acrid scent. Starting to smell
Like
a little,
intestinal?
yeah, a little gross. As you approach the wall, kind of taking a closer look, it looks like something got squished in between the bricks. Either that or it is a hideous growth where like it is just kind of filling in all the gaps and crevices as it's expanding.
I relay this back to the group.
Okay.
Gross. I have an idea. If we take a few minutes, I can cast Identify. This is magical, by the way, shockingly, but it's not associated with any particular school of magic, which leads me to believe that this is not generally going to be very well documented, at least by my culture. I can cast Identify, and I can see what information I can get from it if you guys give me 10 minutes.
Do you think it would be helpful for us to get out of here safely?
I think it would be helpful to do in case it's going to do anything to us. I'll be able to tell.
I will say that there are limitations, and Identify is not great at identifying environmental magics. Magical objects and people or creatures that are under the effects of magical spells, sure, but environmental things, it might not be quite as useful. So you're not burning your time.
Okay. Well, I learned whether or not any spells are affecting it, or did I already get my answer with that one?
You got your answer. Since it is not affiliated with any one school, chances are it is not associated with any spell.
Got it.
This is... You know what? Roll an Arcana check. Yeah,
okay.
Roll an Arcana check. Actually, anybody who wants to roll an Arcana
20.
check.
Sure, I'll do it too. It'll be funny.
Yeah, you guys are all seasoned adventurers, so...
24.
24? Cool.
13.
13? Okay.
3. No good.
Same, 13.
13? Okay. I think collectively you guys have, as you're kind of talking, this is looking like when very powerful creatures inhabit a space, they tend to exude a magical energy that changes the nature of that space. For some fiends, the landscape becomes more hellish. For dragons, land might take on a supernatural, mist, or gems might sparkle a little brighter. Very powerful. You guys remember in your expedition, the aboleths created a slick, slime-like coating on almost everything. Mm-hmm. This is feeling very much like that. Kind of a regional effect of some kind.
Right. So we're not dealing with a god, but we are dealing with a very powerful creature.
I assumed as much.
This is not going to be easy.
As you guys are walking, you notice that more and more of the mortar seems to kind of expand, and you start to see these kind of fleshy, bulbous growths start to appear on the wall, these kind of protrusions that, as you approach, seem to writhe and warble slightly. They quiver almost, not shying away, but just kind of shake.
Does it see the bulbousy flesh that we're seeing? Is it literally just look like skin specifically? Like, do we see any like veiny bulges in it? Is it bleeding? Because you said it was red. Like, I'm just trying to get a little better picture.
Sure. Think tumor.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna ask.
So like I'm talking like these you can see, you guys are paying close enough attention, you got high enough passives. You can see what look like maybe, tendons or muscles or just kind of fleshy masses. It looks like there's just this mishmash of uncontrolled growth.
But it all looks like it's covered by skin. It's not like
No,
it's
no skin. It's all exposed.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do
you
any
haven't
of
seen
you
any
have a
skin
blade
yet.
on you?
I do.
Can you cut a sample?
Going
Can
to
we
pull out.
use hand to do it? I don't want her to touch it.
Well, I'll keep it on the tip of my little blade. It's fine by me.
I
Have a-
think before we progress, it might be worth running a few arcane tests on this and see how it reacts to different schools of magic.
A dagger. So
And the different elements, maybe. I've got some frost and some fire.
I can do all of them.
So I'm going to attempt to cut a chunk, but keep it on the edge of the blade
Okay.
as best I can. Do you need me to run a check for that?
No.
Or am I good? Fantastic.
No, you're good. It seems kind of tough to get through. It's like kind of a gamey meat almost, like you would find in like a really lean, like a game animal. It kind of draws back and recoils from the slicing and the piercing of your dagger. It starts to bleed pretty heavily from the space that you kind of carve out, but you manage to get a chunk of flesh out of it.
Do I notice
Hey,
any gurgling, any unhappiness noises from the thing?
No
Nothing?
sounds right now. No sounds, no gurgling. I mean, other than just the sound of kind of like wet flesh and then spilling of blood as it kind of just spills on the floor, just spread out a little bit.
Thea, you spent your life tending the wounded. Can you take a look at this and see if it acts like humanoid flesh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead and make a medicine check. You guys stopping or continuing?
We're stopping right now.
Stopping? Okay.
That's an 18.
18? Humanoid, maybe animal. It definitely looks like mundane flesh, like you would find on any mortal creature, human, dwarf, elf, orc, bear, wolf. It doesn't look like particularly fiendish or alien in nature.
Did we find out where all the animals are?
Right here.
Oh man, I hope not.
What's up, Liv?
Two things. Number one, Liv is notably impressed at Selima's knife skills. And two, is there any sort of smell that is coming now that it's bleeding? Or just like irony smell?
Yeah, a little more irony, coppery kind of smell of spilled, now lacerated flesh and spilled blood. Yeah. It doesn't seem to respond. It looks like you carved it out of something, some animal that you guys hunted. It's large, it's, big chunk of meat. Thurgle, how long does it take for you to do your cage?
1 hour.
Oh, okay, cool.
So let me know, because I have a beautiful plan of set up.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know.
Once Selima grabs the flesh, I'm gonna gather it and be like, and toss Selima the cube. You should attune to it again. This is gonna get rough. And I'm gonna take it and say, Liv, if you want to join me inside, you're welcome to. If you want to stay out here, that's cool too. I'm gonna go run some tests and come back with some findings.
Yeah, I'd rather get out of here. I don't really like all the... Well, actually, you know what? I cast Pass Without a Trace, and that centers on me, so I should probably stay out here with everyone.
All right. I'll leave Sparks, and I'll recast the light cantrip on Sparks.
Cool.
So if you need anything, let him know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I'll
go ahead.
touch the head of that hammer and cast light just in case Sparks needs to go away. We'll have two sources.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. So, let's go over to Thurgle. Thurgle, tell me about your...
So essentially,
Cages.
I've situated this enough so that Uther would have enough space to stand and turn in a circle, which gives everyone else at least enough room to be able to stand in it. I also then positioned the cannon in front of it. Because I wanted to be sure that if we needed to, that we had to.
Okay.
You are an incredibly considerate and also merciless captor.
What can I say? The ship has taught me a lot.
I'm very curious as to what would happen if you were to shoot a cannonball at the boundary of the pocket dimension.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry, it's loaded with grape shot. It is perfectly fine.
How big are
Okay.
the openings? Okay.
Sounds good.
No, cells are
Valerica, how are you testing this piece of flesh?
I'm just gonna cut it up into different types and I'm gonna cast the various elements on it.
Using what?
So I can do Shocking Grasp, Ray of Frost, and Fireball all as cantrips.
Firebolt.
Firebolt.
Got it. I was gonna say I did not make you that powerful to be able to cast Fireball as a cantrip.
That'd be crazy. And then I have Tasha's Caustic Brew, which is just a stream of acid.
Mm-hmm. Cantrip as well?
One.
The level 1
Level
spell?
1. I'm gonna do that. All of this is in my lab, and I'm gonna try to catch some of the brew in a vial.
Okay.
If I can, because it lasts for a minute and it's a 30-foot stream. So I might do that one outside.
Sure.
I want to burn things. So that takes care of a lot of it. What are my findings at that point?
It is neither vulnerable nor resistant to anything in particular.
So it's just acting like normal flesh.
Acts like normal flesh. Yeah.
Did it harden when it got hit with ice, and did it become brittle? Like, did it actually freeze?
I mean, about as much as, flesh would do. I'll put it this way. It is acting exactly as one might expect a regular kind of humanoid, non-resistant or vulnerable to anything kind of creature would act. Like, had you hit a person with this is probably what, like a person or a beast or whatever.
Okay.
It's not like fiendish flesh that's resistant to fire.
That's good.
Yeah.
We've eliminated something. I'm just trying to spend time running a few tests on it and the way that Valerica knows how to get any information possible out of this.
Sure.
So if you want, I can roll a general intelligence check, or I can do anything.
What spell slots are you expending? You expended Tasha's Caustic Brew for first level slot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you expending any others?
If I need to. I don't really know
Roll an
what
intelligence check.
Okay.
Just straight intelligence.
12, 11.
11? Okay.
Yeah.
It's acting much like flesh would. It's not acting in any way, shape, or form different. It hasn't reacted differently. It cut about the same. You can surmise that it's probably just mundane flesh. I mean, obviously, it's been under the influence of some kind of magic to make it grow.
Right.
But it itself seems to be pretty mundane.
Okay. And am I able to tell if it's like human or animal?
Make a medicine check.
Like, flesh is different.
Sure. Make a medicine check.
I think that's a nat 1.
Is it?
Yes, I've never cooked.
Plus what?
I had servants. Medicine?
Yeah.
2.
So 3? Okay. You're not sure what the source is, but it doesn't look like any part of an animal or a person. It doesn't look like a specific group of muscles or organs. It just looks like a lump of nondescript tissue. As you're kind of cutting it into pieces and testing out, you get the sense that there are veins growing in weird directions. There's a tendon where it shouldn't be. It's not connected to anything. You think that you see the beginnings of what looks like a bone that's just kind of floating there. It just kind of looks like a mash of things kind of just grew together. But otherwise,
So when people have a twin lump,
Yeah,
This is pretty much a twin lump,
Sure.
but a building.
yeah. No skin, no hair, and no teeth that you can see in this lump of flesh, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just like take a little bit of the remaining flesh and then like package it in a jar. Just keep it
cool. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
and then head back out.
Cool. What does Tasha's caustic brew do?
Acid.
Acid. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you pop back up. I'd say over the course of the next hour or so of the group traveling, the passageways slowly become more and more kind of consumed by this fleshy growth. Until eventually, how long does Pass Without Trace last? An hour?
An hour.
An hour? Okay. As Pass Without Trace fades, you expect kind of the heavy, like, footfalls, and it becomes more of a as the floor, walls, ceiling are all now a thick, kind of fleshy surface. You can see that it's no longer straight and flush. Like there's parts that kind of bulge out. You can see them kind of, some of them look like they're almost like breathing, where they kind of oscillate back and forth kind of slowly. And you notice this ahead of you, this kind of like tight kind of net of flesh that's kind of just shut before you.
Are we? It's a sphincter.
Certainly looks like it.
That's what it is.
Am I still noticing soldier footprints prior to obviously walking through the
Yeah,
gullet?
there was still that kind of mishmash of prints kind of all the way up to. You could see what looks like bits of it had been kind of squished at one point and it started to heal over.
Is anything getting stuck to our shoes?
Nothing. It's a little slick and slippery, but it's not like sticking to you. It's really weirdly soft and a little hard to keep your balance. But you can now see more kind of advanced structures. It looks like now there are networks of blood vessels, veins seem to be just under the surface or sometimes even on top of the kind of dense masses of flesh. You can see what look like the beginnings of maybe patches of skin like substance. You know, there's big kind of chunks of fat that have started to be kind of interwoven with things. You can see protrusions of bone in no particular configuration that seem to be kind of growing and expanding out in certain places. And the whole thing sort of moves and pulses slightly as you're
Is it
walking
moving
closer.
against us or giving way as we're coming through?
It's kind of shying slightly away. I mean, it's not moving out of your way,
No,
but
right.
it's reacting to your footfalls, where it kind of like shimmers a little bit on the bottom. It's like, ugh. You know, it kind of reacts.
Does Selima have any powers or anything that she can take a look at the footprints on the ground and tell us kind of how long they've been there? Meaning, when was the last time people passed through here? Was it recent or?
I don't know if I'm able to detect the footprints on this flesh. Am I?
No, you don't see anything on the flesh itself.
The flesh prints.
No.
So Liv
Dead
turns
hairs.
and says, "You want to poke the butthole?"
Although you said there was scarring, so if there is scarring, am I able to detect how long that scar tissue had time to form?
Make a medicine check.
Can Thea help with that?
Sure.
So I roll with advantage?
Roll with advantage, or say it can roll separately. It's up to you guys. It's a medicine check.
Well, I have a 20.
Oh, it's on her. I rolled a 12. I have a +3, so I got 15. So
we'll take the 20.
please.
Okay, 20. Difficult to tell because this is definitely not natural growth. It looks like scar tissue that would have formed over several weeks of healing. Whether or not it happened in a matter of days or minutes, you're not sure. You didn't see when you carved out the flesh, you didn't see it start to like heal immediately.
That was my next question.
It didn't, it kind of like, do not throw things at me.
I'm trying to share cheese.
Well, now I got cheese in my space over here somewhere. Okay, it seemed to respond like any kind of normal flesh, but it didn't seem to heal any quicker. So this looks like a few weeks of kind of healing and scar tissue kind of formed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Uther's going to take the hammer and sort of poke one of the walls, not the membrane, but just one of the walls.
Okay.
He's going to say, years ago in Thoderheim around a fire after drinking, I'm not going to give an amount because I don't remember, I had a bet with my friend Tormir over what it would be like, or what it must have felt like to be born. I told him at the time if it was his mother, I imagined it would be falling out of a great chasm. But I feel like I'm about to find out if I won or lost that bet.
I'll help you collect the money.
Hey, you're gonna go poke?
No, not the membrane. No, I'm not agitating that.
No,
until we're ready
just
to
the
roll.
wall, just the wall.
Wall, yeah, I'm just poke the
Anything in
wall.
particular, just like a lump, like, or do you want to poke one of like the more bulbous things? Do you want to poke one of like the flatter things, one of the veiny things? What do you want to poke?
This question feels like a trap. I'm gonna say to poke one of the innocuous looking flat parts that doesn't appear to cause any harm.
Okay. So you go. Are you fingering it, or are you?
Absolutely not. No, it's a sterile environment. I am using a surgical implement. I'm using the edge of the hammer.
Okay. So you poke it and you make contact with kind of looks and feels and has the rough density of like a patch of skin. It kind of shakes slightly. You ever seen what skin looks like when it's being tickled? It's got that slight quiver to it.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. I mean, it's hairless right now, but so no follicle growth. But yeah, it's like, ew.
Oh, good job, chat.
Yeah.
When we first came in here, I was like, "Oh, this is totally Aliens 2, Sigourney Weaver," but it's so much worse.
Okay. All right. At about this point, you guys are done in the house. Are you coming out or are you staying in?
Out of curiosity, has Liv is this membrane sphincter thing that we've walked up to? Am I hallucinating anything? Am I seeing anything that seems like they're not seeing, or is
everything that they're commenting on seems to be right about normal.
Okay.
I mean, for as much as like you're not seeing anything different than what they've described.
Perfect.
That you're aware of, yeah.
So
well, the entire time that we're in there, the entire time that we're in there, Thea's just gonna keep messing with the flesh to give it the goosebumps. I'm just making designs on the walls, just doing different things.
Okay. All right. As you keep doing that, you notice that certain parts of it start to get a little more like agitated and energetic. Everything kind of has this slow kind of pulse to it, and as you kind of start fiddling with it more, it starts to ride a little faster.
Flesh likey the Thea touch.
Either likes it or hates it.
Did you run a salt test on any of this flesh from inside?
No, I don't want to eat it. I don't think any of us should eat it, Selima.
No, a salt test.
So Valerica and Thurgle, did you pop out of the mansion?
Yeah, I was saying we did.
Oh, okay, got it. I missed that. So yeah, you guys emerge right into the middle of this flesh room.
More. Okay.
Immediately, your feet kind of.
The fuck?
As soon as I notice them come out, I tell them, Valerica, Thurgle, look what happens when I do this.
You should
You can
probably
see
stop.
the muscle like groups start to like tense slightly and like wiggle a little bit. The skin kind of like sucks in slightly.
I should have stayed asleep. What the fuck is going on here?
So it's ticklish.
And you can and you guys do also see the large kind of sphincter like space.
Is that what passes for a doorway?
I was asking if you had salt.
Tasha always carries salt on her, but I don't think
I
Valerica.
know.
This is a painful question for me to answer. No, I don't think Valerica.
Actually, considering that I hunt, I probably have
You
salt.
would have some
would have
salt. You guys would have salt in like your trail ration
I
type
was going
thing.
to say I have it for a few of my spells, so I have
you're
salt.
fine.
Selena, if Lady Thea continues to masturbate this thing, I have a feeling something salty's going to come our way in a moment.
Valerica gives Uther the most deadpan look and just shakes her head.
If this passes off as pleasure where you're from, it's not happening anytime soon for anyone.
It doesn't. Nothing about this is pleasurable at
And
all.
we'll go back inside the mansion, people.
What's up, Thurgle?
What is on the ceiling?
More flesh.
Yeah, nothing hanging, just flesh.
Just
No flesh like my.
A couple like
We're not about to
bulbousy
attack
things,
that
and maybe like a few bone-like protrusions. You know, muscles, veins. You do notice like there's these weird kind of like growth like things that kind of stick out a little bit more that are kind of coated in like a pinkish membrane, but it's slightly grayed on the inside.
I wouldn't touch those at all.
So it reacts normally.
Am I able to clairvoyant to look beyond the sphincter?
It's the best line.
Twitch is for adults.
What did you guys do on Friday? Oh, we just played around with the sphincter. No big deal.
In a big group. We all talked about it. It was great. Had some laughs.
Okay. So the one thing that about so
the answer is there's shame beyond the sphincter.
well, really, the question comes down to how familiar are you? Because clairvoyance requires you to be familiar with the location.
She's a medical professional.
And a nun, no less. So
Exactly what Valerica said. Exactly what Valerica
Oh,
said.
I'm not going to go further for that one.
okay, but no, more
There's no further at this point. We're there.
So, but to answer your question, you do need to be specifically familiar with this specific geographical location in order to place a sensor from
Welcome
clairvoyance.
to the Roiling League, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching.
Actually, question from Liv. So we've seen all these different parts of the style of flesh that we see in there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that indicates that there is like neurons or brain waves or something that like I could detect its thoughts or feelings?
Oh, okay. Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Let's find out.
Can I give her advantage? Because I know different things about animals and
Sure.
stuff like that. There you go. Do it.
All right, let's find out. Thank you. That was much better. We're going to be going to 23, folks.
23? Okay. It will require you to get a lot closer. The neurons are tiny.
So I'm going to do that, and then because I have the spell detect thoughts, so I want to get close, and then I'm gonna do that.
Okay. With your 23, there are most certainly nerves. These surfaces kind of react to physical sensation. You touch them and they do something. They seem to be reactive to their environment. As far as thought, there don't appear to be any things that resemble brains. So who knows?
So knowing that and knowing what I know, I would not probably cast Detect Thoughts, but it would indicate to me that it is all connected to a larger being and it is not just some weird extra flesh entity. At least that's what I'm going to tell to my friends.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So, you were
Fireball the sphincter.
I was. Wait, hold on. I was
Alright,
going to
got it.
say.
It's out.
all right. So Valerka just
I asked for salt.
you see you get this immediate smell of like burned flesh as the firebolt impacts this kind of membranous structure, which like seizes for a moment as it kind of like tightens and then it opens, and you see more hallway and more flesh.
Shall we?
Does it smell or feel any different on the other side of the sphincter?
It does actually. It smells. It smells like a body. It smells, weirdly enough, at once kind of fresh and old. It smells like like a fresh kill,
But like old man smell?
but old, like there are parts of it that are there are parts that might be decaying. There are parts that might be older. You also do kind of detect like slightly noxious smells, slightly acrid smells coming through. It's starting to get humid, like quite humid, and it's a lot warmer. It's a lot warmer.
So what do you all think the chances are that we get to the end of this tunnel and hear the same story we heard in Bluxford, where the ruling class actually ended up installing this entity for one reason or another, and then tried to make some terrible rulings to spare its citizens, like no animals?
Or what if the Emperor has already gone completely insane and that's why we couldn't meet him first because they want us to save him? Which would explain a lot.
You know, in the end, as long as I get to kill something, like, I don't even care. I'm tired of trying to understand people in this place.
Me
I don't
thinking
know if I
too
want
much
to
is what
walk here anymore. This is getting gross.
Do I hear any unusual noises or anything coming?
Do you want me to send Sparks
Make a
ahead
perception
and
check.
see how much further this goes on for? Should we do some familiar reconnaissance here?
do you think our familiars are susceptible to the mental attacks that this place is assaulting us
No.
with?
Their consciousness that are projected from the Fey realm or Celestial or Fiend. I don't think any of us have Fiend. I think
They
we
are
just have
still susceptible to psychic damage, if that's the question.
psychic damage, but not madness.
Oh.
Like, they're not going to take on secondary personality traits. That's what Valerica knows.
Yep.
So if you're gonna send out sparks, I would actually like to do something to assist with that. If I could. Let me find my spell for it. Where'd it go?
So here's my thought. We still haven't found any bodies, and we've been told many have been trapped down here. I'm going to assume the protrusions are probably what's decaying. So don't touch them. And we keep moving. We don't stay in one spot for too long.
Right, we've probably got a couple more hours of travel left in us for the day. Then I suggest we all take a long rest in the mansion. This is not a heavy foot traffic area, so we can have the familiars do the usual hold on the mansion outside, and then wake up in the morning to the feast that Uther was talking about. have it stay with us for 24 hours.
Sounds
The only
good.
question now is, do we want to do reconnaissance or just keep pushing forward?
Let's keep pushing forward because I feel if we stay, I'm just gonna keep playing with the walls.
I really wish you wouldn't.
It's deeply upsetting.
All right, how about you step through this lovely, lovely gaping hole first? Oh, enthusiastic Thea.
Please don't use the word gaping.
So
That is why I mark our channel for adults only.
at this point, because Liv has had a few hallucinations and she is not trusting herself, which is not
Mhm.
something that happens to her frequently, she is going to voice a little bit of this concern to her friends. And to help ease her own mind of this, Liv is going to tell you guys, hey, I'd like to go into the mansion. I don't think I need to be caged up. It's not that bad. But I've been seeing stuff. I don't trust my eyes right now. But what I'd like to do is cast Mislead, so that I can put a form of myself out here that I can look through, kind of like how Valerica does with Sparks. And so you have my body as a presence if needed, but then I will be inside.
How long does it last?
An hour.
Sure, I don't have a problem with it.
So it says, I become invisible, and at the same time, an illusory double of me appears where I'm standing. The double lasts for the hour duration, but the invisibility ends if I attack or cast a spell. And then there's other things that come along with it, but I can see through its eyes and hear through its ears as if I was located where it is. That's the main things I'm going to use it for. But I'm going to go inside.
Can the
Okay.
form move? Can it walk?
I'm going to say that's a DM call because it doesn't say.
What's the spell?
Mislead.
Let me find
Oh,
out.
just kidding. It says I can use my action to move the illusory double up to twice my speed and make it gesture, speak, and behave in whatever way you choose.
Wow, that is
Dope
a
spell.
That's
the
cool.
5th level spell. Fascinating. Okay.
It's one of the new ones I picked up when we leveled up.
Nice.
Huh.
But I just want to have a physical presence out there so that anything you guys encounter, there's another body still there.
Sure.
But my stupid brain is not in the way.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Cool. So, an illusory form of Liv appears, and she dips out into the mansion. You guys continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell my illusory form to follow Valerica.
All right. Sounds good. So, for the first portion of your journey, who would like to make a roll?
What are we rolling?
D6.
Selima.
What are we rolling?
Rolling a D6.
Oh dear.
Hey, question to DM.
Yeah.
Now that I'm back in the other plane of existence, do I feel any of that hallucination-y stuff disappearing?
Nope.
Do I notice any change going back inside?
No.
Yeah, fuck.
2? Okay. Go ahead and roll a D8 for me, please. Peter's about to murder me from afar. 2 again? Okay. As you guys walk through the kind of the fleshy cavern at this point, you see a lot of the same kinds of structures, fleshy structures that you've seen the entire time. These bulbous things. You have started to notice more bone growth in certain areas. It looks like almost like rib cages have started to form in some parts. Teeth have started to emerge. You've noticed more kind of almost like sealed, almost like sealed shut or almost like sutured portions of the wall seem to have appeared. But as you continue on, you notice just ahead of you a roughly human-sized pile of robes just lying on the floor, face down.
Robes?
Robes.
I'm going
Like
to
fairy
approach
cloth?
the trident and poke at it.
Okay. You kind of, as you approach, you see the form of what looks like a person in a set of robes. Kind of a strange purplish color. As you kind of poke at it, you hit flesh. You hit like meat of some kind, probably the body, and wearing the clothing.
I'm going to lean in a little bit, see if I maybe be able to see distinguished features or anything particular that
Okay.
shows that they were human.
As you
Or-
you look, you see the face of a humanoid, kind of head turned to the side. Parts of the faces started to fuse into the floor. And it has this ghastly, twisted expression. Its eyes locked open in fear and horror, as though it has seen something out of nightmares. As you kind of look, you also notice that other parts of its flesh have started to kind of fuse in, as the cloth is being kind of moved away from the space. You want to looks like there's maybe like a small pack kind of tucked away within the robes you kind of catch a glimpse of.
I'm going to attempt to use the trident to grab the pack. And
Thurgle, let me try pulling it out. Yeah.
if you have easier way, go ahead.
Mage hand. I'm gonna try to have mage hand
Mage
pull
hand?
the.
Okay. With your mage hand, go ahead and roll a d100 for me, please.
You got this.
I wasn't expecting a D100 roll. Okay. 55.
55? Okay. As you reach with your mage hand, you grab the pack. And as you do, it rips a piece of flesh off of the kind of off of the floor and off the body, and this noxious kind of fume just sprays out of it. Thurgle, you still standing next to it?
I called him back.
I would have backed up at least enough to not be right up against it.
Okay. It kind of lingers in the air for a moment, and then you notice small kind of like holes in the wall kind of open, and the air gets this kind of gas gets kind of drawn back in, like almost breathing like.
What the fuck?
That was very disturbing.
Extremely. What is in the bag?
Did we get the bag?
You got the bag.
Let's open it up and look.
Okay. Looks like a few maybe decayed rations, a couple of empty pieces of parchment, a quill, pot of ink, a small dagger.
Toss it at Thurgle. Nothing interesting for me.
Am I able to tell any significant crafting with the dagger? How old it is?
It's like a fairly standard, like you would find in any smith shop. Its design is it's a little more regional, probably to the area. Doesn't look like anything that you've. It doesn't look significantly different than anything else. Maybe some like cultural flourishes or something that's the smith here might have made it. But it doesn't look like it's a particularly unique design. It looks like a dagger. Yeah. It's a little old, probably a little corroded at this point because it's been in a very kind of moist environment.
With that, since I'm fairly adept at understanding metals, would I be able to tell how old it is with rust and decay on it?
You know what? Sure, yeah. Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Of course, intelligence.
Hey, DC's lower because of your expertise. So.
Oh, thank goodness, 13.
13. The dagger itself kind of hard to age, but it looks like it's been here for a few days. Like this is like a couple of days of oxidation that's formed on the dagger.
Okay. I mentioned this to the group.
Given that it's robes, that indicates that it's probably not a soldier.
No, more likely a practitioner of arcane.
Is he still alive?
I don't think so.
At this point, because I can control my little person that I put out there, I'm going to use gestures to try to explain to the group that next time you want to touch something, use my little person to touch stuff.
How does that look?
Roll
I
a
see
performance
interpret
check.
dance.
Oh wait, I take it back. It says I can make it speak. I'm just gonna make it tell you that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
Anybody else think that gas that escaped is potentially incredibly harmful?
Yeah, is there any DM, is there any rolls that we can make to figure out what's going on here? Like intelligence or
The
No need.
paperwork that I read definitely said that there were caustic traps, so I would assume
It
that
looked
this
like
is
poison.
All right.
Liv
Some
says
kind of a
don't
poisonous something. You can surmise. I mean, you guys have been in enough dungeons and encountered enough things. This looks, as an analog, it is the poison effects.
So you said there was quill and paper inside the bag as well?
Yep.
Was there anything written on it?
Nothing.
is it high quality paper? Like
Not really.
paper? Okay, so it's just normal
It's like
paper.
standard parchment.
Was there any ink in the bag or just the quill and the paper?
A little bottle of ink.
I'm gonna turn to Thea and say, "No more touchy. We're past this. No more touchy." Okay. You're going to
I'm going to take the dagger itself and place that in my bag.
Okay, sounds good. Got it. All right.
So is there only like one way to proceed forward, or does it split off into two paths?
No, only one way. You've noticed that it started to kind of curve and twist slightly, but there seems to be only one way that you're noticing. You're not seeing any other passages as you're walking. It's kind of one long tunnel.
Given that this is now getting more volatile, I think a bit of strategy is going to help us out here.
Okay.
I say we send the flying familiars ahead, get an idea of what's coming, then make some decisions that are more informed instead of potentially walking into something that will kill us.
I'll sort of nod my assent and summon hail.
Okay.
Would you like to put my little person in front of you all as you go down?
Sure.
I'm gonna call Adair, give him explicit instructions, touch nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we send a lot of them off, and Thea, I'm going to look through Sparks' eyes. I'm going to go blind and deaf, but I'll relay what I see. While I'm in this mode, you are the only one that's going to see if Selima and Uther do the same.
I will stay attentive.
If anything happens, squeeze my hand, and I'll step out of it.
Absolutely, Lady Indric.
And I'm going to go blind and go into Sparks' eyes.
Okay. So you're sending your familiars ahead of you?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Somebody else, whose turn is it to roll as you proceed on your next leg of your journey? All right,
I
Valerica.
volunteer. Okay.
Fight for it, I guess.
What are we rolling?
D6.
D6. That's a 4.
4? Okay. Sparks flies forward. Up to 2 of you, or 1 with advantage. Make a perception check to see what they see.
With Sparks' perception?
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah, I'll do it too because I imagine hail's right there as well.
Hale is legit at perception.
okay.
Okay. So we can both roll, Uther. And I already have advantage on any perception checks with Sparks. 14.
Okay. Roll 86 for me, Tasha.
4.
Okay, sounds good. What did Hale get?
Hale got a 15 plus 7, so that's
Jeez.
22.
Okay, sounds good. Your familiars travel further down past the past this next section. More kind of fleshy protrusions and stools and bulbous shapes and forms. Hale, as she's kind of flying forward, notices that there's this section of the ground where it appears that the surface might shift or open should you walk over it.
Hmm.
All right, so I'll relay to the group. I'll say, all right, team. Hale sees what looks to be like traps on the floor, some sort of a permeable surface that frankly looks like it would suck us up in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Sounds fun.
Can Hale see how far those traps extend?
Look like this one extended. It looks like it's a big enough space to take kind of the full 10-foot width of the passageway. And maybe another 5 or 10 feet, depending on the exact nature of it is unknown, but it does look like it is something that could be triggered. So.
Well, good news is we can all jump in the mansion, right? And have the familiars fly the box across.
Okay.
True.
All right. Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I'm still in Sparks, so if Sparks is just watching Hale go investigate this and goes over, I'm assuming comes to the same conclusion.
Didn't notice it until Hale did, though.
Yeah. I figured as much. And then I'll drop and we can have that conversation.
Cool.
I'm just trying to like keep timeline honest here.
Yep. Their goal.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
Wisdom saving.
Yeah.
19.
19? Okay. And roll a d6 for me, please.
That's it. So 1.
1? Okay. As you guys are talking, you feel the kind of oppressive feeling of being watched seems to focus on you for a moment. You've kind of had this sensation in the back of your head of something constantly keeping an eye on you. As the light kind of casts on the strange kind of undulating and uneven terrain, you see the shadows kind of move slightly. You now constantly see shapes moving in the shadows. So you may add that madness as a flaw to your character sheet.
Join me.
Does anyone else see the dancing figures?
Yup.
Thurgo, you're about to get put in your own cage.
No, Thurgle.
What the fuck did you get us into, Arthur?
Look, I promised not to shoot you with the cannon that you clearly intended for me.
Oh no, that was intended for me in all intents purposes. I wanted to make sure you had an escape.
I bet you want to drink now, don't you, you tiny sober weirdo?
Bang!
It has been a
Does your
while.
alternate person do that outside with no mug?
Yes. Bang. I'll hand it over to Liv because clearly she wants a drink.
But she's not actually here.
It's an illusion, so you handing it over?
Oh, that's right. No. That's right. I would remember that in the moment. I will hand it over to Thurgle and kind of give him the hairy eyebrows and be like, you know you want it.
Thurgle, you don't have to.
Thurgle is heavily considering though.
Uther, he's not the fun type.
Oh, you've seen him drunk?
Heard stories. It's not something worth pushing.
If you'd like us all to get out of here alive, it would not be a good.
I was gonna say Uther's gonna get excited about the possibility for a second, and then look at the intestine walls and kind of go, probably right.
Yeah, so do you want your $12,000 because you can't get it if you're dead?
As Uther pulls it back, you see Thurgle sort of.
We have some really great tea in the mansion, Thurgle. Fantastic tea. Some of it I've helped pick out. It's great.
Thurgle, do you want to head back in for a bit?
I'm going to go sit in the cage.
Side note, the version of me that's inside the mansion, the actual me, is currently invisible. So you're not going to see me when you get inside.
She's also deaf and blind, so where exactly did you put yourself?
You know, that's a good question. I did not think that part through. I guess I would have put myself probably in like the living room or the kitchen.
Okay. Go ahead and make a...
I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like...
Sure, make a dexterity check.
Just straight dex?
Yeah. Because you're blind and deaf from the minute you cast that spell, which means you had to navigate from the teleportation circle to the mansion. Blind and deaf. So, what's your dex?
11.
11? Okay. It takes you a long time to try and find the mansion. Eventually you do. But you make a right mess in that front room. As you just kind of bump into everything. It is a very fortunate thing you did not wander aimlessly in the 1 square mile space that is your pocket dimension.
Dude, that would have been horrible. Okay, so Thurgle's in, so me, Selima...
Went into that cage, closed it, and sat to meditate to Hephaestus.
Okay, that's good.
So the 4 of us are still out.
Okay.
Yep.
So, how are you getting past the next stage?
Oh, yeah, we're all gonna jump in, I guess, and have Hale and Sparks fly us across the quicksand of flesh.
That's fine with me.
All right.
I'll have a Dare accompany you just in case.
You know, it may not be a bad idea to just have them fly for a bit and stay attuned to them in the mansion so we're not dealing with poison.
I think to suggest, why don't you all just pop back in here with me and then have one of them carry the whole mansion over the quicksand?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so is that what you guys are going to do?
Yeah.
All right, so your familiars get past the first obstacle without any issues. Who would like to roll for the next thing?
I will.
All right, go for it, Liv. Is your person still wandering around?
It lasts for an hour, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, you got it for at least a little bit longer.
Did she jump the...
It's an illusion.
I float across it if I want to. I literally can tell her how to behave. I can tell her to fucking backflip over it. 4.
4? Okay, go ahead and roll another d6 for me, please.
1.
Okay. I need your familiars to make perception checks, please.
21.
21? Okay. And what about Hale?
If I could play as Hale every just minute of the role play, I would do great. She got a nat 20 plus 7.
All right. Oh, and Adair is there. Okay, cool. I'm going to need, are you guys keeping watch through your familiars? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Crystal's back. Perfect. I need Adair to make a perception check, please. What was that? You're muted.
19.
19? Okay. Fantastic. All three of them, as they're kind of flying through this space, you notice these kind of tendrils, almost cilia-like growths have formed, taken shape. As they pass by, the change in air current picks one up. I'm going to need each of them to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
Okay. Mm.
Seven.
7? Okay.
14.
14? Okay.
16 for Hale.
16? Okay. Hale and Adair, as Sparks is flying forward with the other two familiars, the cilia-like structures kind of quivered for a second. And Valerica, the last thing that you see out of Sparks' eyes is this spray of this caustic, searing material. Adair and Hale managed to dodge out of the way, avoiding the burning acid as it splashes onto Sparks. He's going to take 11 points of acid damage.
That's enough to knock him out.
Okay. And your
So-
familiars watch as Sparks and the box tumbles.
I'm going to have Adair try to swing in hard to get to the box right now.
Okay, make another dexterity saving throw.
Oh god,
Please.
I'm gonna die.
19.
19. Okay. Adair manages to swoop down, barely catching the puzzle box mansion just before it hits the ground. Sparks, having your vision, Valerica returns. You're now one familiar short. But the box is
I
safe.
grumble and go start recasting Sparks.
Okay. Sounds good. You guys doing anything else?
Oh my god.
Has anyone told the group what's going on outside?
I'm sure I will be at this point.
I was gonna say my thing does not prevent me from being able to speak to everybody on the inside, but I don't know that you're there because I was blind and deaf to you arriving in the mansion, so I cannot
Blind,
provide.
deaf, and invisible. So you guys don't know she's there either, and she doesn't know you're there. At one point, you're going to stumble over each other.
So Thea, you just see Valerica kind of grumble and start going over to the brazier and casting the same spell that you've seen me cast for Soul and everybody else. Sparks got hit by a cilia thing and he died. So I'm resummoning him.
So Adair and Hale, as they're flying past now with Adair carrying the box, you see a protrusion from the wall which had sprayed this burst of acid starts to retract back in. Settles back into the wall. Cool.
Delicious.
Who's rolling the next leg?
I guess I'll do it because I got hail out there.
Okay.
Is he? It's a D6, right?
D6. Yeah.
Trace.
3. Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check.
With Uthers or hail?
Uthers. You're paying it. Well, Hale could do it. Hale. Yeah. You're just looking
Hale?
through Hale's eyes, so it's about Hale perceiving.
Ah, hell.
Woo, 18.
18. All right, and roll another d6 for me, please.
Uh-oh. Dan smiled. We're in so much trouble.
5. Okay. Okay. As Adair and Hale are flying forward, you see parts of the wall, the floor, the ceiling open into these mouth-like structures, jagged teeth, and these kind of lolling tongues. It's kind of like out to the, just kind of hang over. Big, small things that look like they could eat your familiars in a single bite. Things that look like could probably eat Thurgle in a single bite. I need both of them to make wisdom saving throws. Actually, are you guys are looking through them, right? I need you guys to make wisdom saving throws as well. So so Adair, Hale, Uther,
Do
and
I
Selima.
too as well?
Yes, you would too.
Awesome.
25, baby.
25? Okay.
7. Adair got a 20.
Okay.
It's my best roll yet, but I'm pretty sure it still didn't work at a 19.
Okay.
Wait, have we been here more than an hour?
At this point, yeah.
Motivational speech doesn't work anymore.
Okay. Good to know.
And for me, it was a 17. Adair rolled better than me.
Okay. And what did Hale get? What was that?
He's checking the details.
Mm-hmm.
Too much head trauma in my life. My memory's not that good. It's a wisdom for her too?
Yeah.
Ooh, not good. It's 11.
11? Okay. Uther, the last thing that you hear is this sudden shriek of dozens of mouths shrilly, bitingly, cloyingly, slashingly screaming into this space. It racks your mind. Your vision goes completely blank for a moment as you lose your connection to Hale. And your vision and hearing return. You're not injured, but she did not survive the encounter. The rest of you keep hearing this awful shouting, screaming.
Wait, the rest of who? Because we're all
sorry.
in attention.
Liv and Selima, you hear this screeching, shrieking shrilly, piercing through everything as it echoes in every direction. You're Adair, the only one left, as you see Hale just out of existence, keeps flying, and eventually the shrieks die down.
We're all gonna die.
Lyrica.
How long does your thing last, Liv?
An hour.
That's just about done too.
Yes,
Lyrica, I lost my little Fae baby.
I'll get her back. Don't worry, I'm getting Sparks back. She'll be next.
Your little baby.
Thank you.
I'll bring her back. Don't worry. She's okay. She didn't feel anything. She's all right.
That's what she said.
So I get her back. It's not some other random.
No, you get her back. Same exact one. Same sass and everything.
Uther's being way more emotional about this than he would be proud of later.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So at this point, there is only one familiar outside, as Thurgold is shouting this from the cage.
And my little body that's probably going to last about, I don't know, a couple more minutes tops.
Yeah, a couple minutes pass, and you guys see wherever you guys, if any of you are kind of in the living space, you see Liv just poof, into existence.
Well, hello.
Hey! So I guess Adir's out there by himself now.
Yeah, we may need to change the arrangement.
I have Ares available to help.
Yeah, why don't you have Adair halt for a moment in somewhere that's safe, and we at least get Thurgold's familiar out there too.
I can also send out Freckles, but I mean,
Freckles won't help right now.
Land
she can't
creature.
fly.
Oh, little snack, no.
Yeah, but let's get yours out there, Thurgold. But you have to go out to summon it out there. We can't send them out through the teleportation.
Yes, I'm aware of this, and I'm building up the courage for it.
All right.
So
Well, then-
Adair, you're still in Adair, so you can't hear any of this.
Yeah.
Adair
Yeah.
keeps flying. Roll a d8 for me.
I'm gonna have somebody. Because I'm casting actively.
Okay.
I'm assuming an hour hasn't passed. I don't
Nope.
have Spark back yet.
Uther has to go out with Thurgold because I'm in Crazy Town myself. So
Yeah.
One.
One.
Someone needs to go tell Selima to drop her connection for a second and talk tactics. Go ahead,
Yeah.
DM.
You're good. As you're flying through Adair's senses, this kind of sense of dread, two familiars just kind of out of existence. Ahead, maybe, 10, 15 feet, you see another body kind of lying prone on the floor. This time, not in robes. It looks like it's maybe got like a leather armor on it. Looking at it, it looks as though it's been kind of warped and twisted. From this distance, a little hard to see, but it looks like it's almost been shorn, still bleeding from certain places. There's these kind of festering kind of pustules all over it. It's kind of swollen and mottled, as parts of it have started to fuse into the floor and parts are still exposed, like they're being slowly consumed.
I'm gonna have Adair kind of pull back a bit
All right.
and kind of just kind of like scope the area, make sure there's no more cilia or anything kind of whipping around or
Okay.
pockets
Doesn't
or
look like
anything
it so far.
That's reassuring. Great. Can Adair see much more past it or
It looks like more hallway.
more hallway?
Yep. More flesh cave.
As long as there's no fleshlights.
Actually, that's a good point. Does Adair have dark vision?
Hit the dwarf.
gotta make sure you're looking at the camera when she looks back
No.
to it.
No. Okay, well then I take that back. Adair sees nothing.
Because
All right.
hail and sparks were light sources.
So I'm probably gonna stop at Dare then.
All right.
Yeah.
Pitch black.
And I'm basically going to just tell him to just hold for a second.
Mhm.
God's willing if he can, because I'm gonna pull out, because if I can't see, because I have dark vision.
But Adair does not, and you're seeing through
Yeah,
Adair's
side
eyes.
note, guys, Ares doesn't have dark vision either.
So even though I'm looking through him, I'm looking through him.
Yeah.
Not aiding him in through him.
Mhm.
Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to pull out of Adair. I didn't see the body. And I'm going to go, okay. So Adair's blind, and it's pitch black. And I don't know what the terrain is in any way, shape, or form.
Does anyone have a way to cast light on Adair?
No, but Ares can carry a fucking torch.
I can also cast light on anything.
But you're in the middle of bringing back sparks, so you can't do both.
Thea, can you cast light?
I actually can, and I was thinking with everything that is happening with our familiars, if we need to, I can cast light on an object. I could use one of my bow and arrows. And I can also fly us if we need to.
But only for a minute at a time. Oh! Okay. I have an idea. I can levitate us for 10 minutes.
Oh, you have that table thing.
It's a power of the staff, actually.
Ah.
How far into reviving sparks am I right now?
At this point, probably about 45 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know the terrain at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's
It is-
not safe for him to continue. Say it just for argument's sake at this point, somebody just cast light on a spoon and send it out to the birds so we can get some vision.
I'll do it real quick. I'll just pick up.
Done.
Yeah,
You got it.
something like
Glowing spoon.
How's it getting out there?
I'm going to take it and bring it out with Ares, and he's going to carry it for.
As
Okay.
you walk towards the teleportation thing, I look you dead in the eye and be like, don't be stupid, you come back right away, you understand?
No promises.
Oh, good lord.
Okay. So you do the handoff without any problems. The light now kind of floods the cavern.
Uther's going to take this moment to go. Does anybody else think that for an underground necropolis, we've been traveling an awfully long time? If this is an actual physical necropolis, this feels like we'd be in another city, another country by now. The amount of time we've been traveling. Is it
Something's
possible
not right.
this is an illusion? That this whole thing is some sort of a mental trick?
You don't want to ask me, I don't believe what I'm seeing in the first place.
It's possible, Uther.
Valerica, I'm tempted to have you go out there and just cast some huge fire spell and burn everything around us and just see what's left.
The thought has crossed my mind several times. There's a
Given-
lot of fire I have ability to cast.
Speaking of which, though, before any of that happens, Uther, you reminded me earlier, I actually also have motivational speech. So before I lose my mind entirely, I'm going to cast it at 4th level for you all. And I'm just going to look at you all and say, you fucking got this.
Okay.
That's my full speech.
You all gain the
And then-
benefit of motivational
stare
speech for the
everybody
next.
in the eye for about 10 seconds per person to take up my full minute.
All right.
Power and simplicity. So that's 10 temporary hit points because you did 4th level?
They do
Correct.
not stack.
No, it says when you cast the spell using a spell slot
I'm
of
sorry.
4th level or higher, the temporary hit points increase by 5 for each slot
My
level
mistake.
above 4.
My mistake. Yes. 10 temporary hit points for the next 10 minutes. Or hour.
Hour. Yeah.
Yes, and you get that
Too many numbers. Too many numbers.
advantage on wisdom saving throws thing.
Oh, lovely.
Thea and I are racially suited best to handle being out there right now because she and I can both fly for durations of time. And if I can be out there and cast levitate as soon as Sparks is back, and one of us can pull the other one.
Out of curiosity, I've been attempting to keep track because I've been out the entire time. I never lost a day or anything like that. Is this map still making sense? Do I still recognize what I'm doing based off the map I've been looking at? What limited information they had?
And all bets are off at this point.
Lovely. Well, it's not in crayon, so we're working on this. We got this.
Not in crayon. But it is in chicken scratch, and you're pretty sure some of it was in blood.
I've had worse.
Fair enough.
Had worse.
So, Can you let me know, DM, when I'm done reviving Sparks?
Sure, yeah. You guys are sitting waiting for the next 15 minutes. Yeah. Sparks comes back without a problem.
Okay.
Are your other familiars flying on?
No, because no one can see. Oh wait, they
Oh,
have
they,
the
they did the
spoon.
handoff with the glowing spoon.
Holding spoon of light.
All right, so
Back in.
who's
Yes,
rolling
I'm-
for the next thing?
I think it's either Selima or Thurgle at this point, because their familiars are the ones that are out.
Oh, right. And
ahead,
actually, at this
Thurgle.
point, you would see that dead body. You want to go investigate that before you
No.
roll.
No,
Let's continue.
no. Adair has no interest.
Okay. Did you fly over? It looks weirdly like a generic adventurer. Kind of
Aries
armor
looks
and
down and goes,
things.
I've eaten better, and continues flying.
All right. Go ahead and roll a d6 for me, please.
D6. 2.
2. Awesome. Roll a d8.
Oh lord.
2.
2. Okay.
Again?
Yeah, again, you see another body. Another one in robes.
No.
Oh look, another body. Fuck it, let's keep going.
This time, as you pass by it, the body is kind of slumped against the wall, slowly being absorbed in, and now you can see it bears what appears to be a medallion. The shape kind of catches on the light of the spell that is currently illuminating the area. It is several clustered eyes in the same configuration and shape as the motif of the Hag's Cavern.
Shit.
Symbol
I'm gonna-
of the Lord of Eyes.
So I'm blind and deaf. Am I still able to speak at all, or no?
You can speak.
Okay, so you're actually getting like word vomit.
Play by
out of me.
play.
Yeah, basically. In the
We're
most
turning
annoying
left.
voice possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, shit. It sounds like we're dealing with cultists.
Well, it wouldn't be our first time.
No, it would not.
It wouldn't even be our first time dealing with cultists who like to live underneath a city.
But the first time with flesh walls.
That's true.
Can we go last time with flesh walls?
Go ahead and roll another d6 for the next leg of your journey.
All right. 5.
5? Okay. Go ahead and roll a d8 for me, please.
7.
Okay.
Oh, very good.
In unusual fashion for what you've seen, there appears to be something that is distinctly still organic, still made of a cat. No. As your familiars fly forward, you see what appears to be an altar made of bone, shaped and formed as though a rib. Muscles and tendons pulse and tighten as if holding this altar together. And you can see that it kind of gives off the sense that there's power to it. There's nothing on it, but there seems to be a place of worship, of sacrifice. You don't know. It's an altar. Whatever you do, it alters. But you do note that it looks a lot healthier than a lot of the flesh in the surrounding area.
So
I'm gonna squeeze Selima's knee when she's explaining this to us. Like, that's our sign for like, stop.
Okay. I'm going to kind of assume it's either wake up. So I'm going to have Adair kind of stop what he's
Okay.
doing.
Yeah. Stop.
I was going to say, in addition to that, because she's been word vomiting this to us, I'm going to literally turn to our 3 fucking clerics and ask if any of them recognize what she's describing.
Or do I recognize the bones by any chance?
Roll a medicine or nature, either one. Clerics, make a religion check, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely want a nature. 16 plus 6, 22.
Okay. You're confident this is not in any configuration that a living creature has.
Well, yes, thank you.
They don't look
Has-
like the bones of most creatures that you've seen. They seem to have been kind of warped and twisted and shaped to
That was
fit
my
this
question.
structure.
If it was like a carnivore's kind of set, if it was like elk, if it was per se horse or human.
It's such a bizarre mishmash. Some of them don't even look like bones that you've ever seen. You just know they're bones.
All right.
But identifiable of like a creature, hard to tell.
Okay.
Clerics, do you guys
I'm gonna
roll?
go with 11.
I got 21 for
21?
religion.
Okay.
Yeah, nat 1 here. So
Okay.
no.
Okay.
God damn
You-
it, Claire.
you-
Get your shit together.
She got a 21.
So Thea, looking at this, you know altars are places of worship, of reverence, of ritual. As to the significance of this altar, you have no idea. And you're confident that you have no idea. This doesn't seem like, I mean, it's an altar, so you can assume what it's for, but what rites and rituals and associated, practices go with it, you're not sure. In conjunction with what you identified as, a cultist and this Lord of Eyes, they're clearly worshiping something here. What and to what end and what they get out of it, you have no idea. Because you've seen, or at least you've heard, soldiers coming in and dying. And now you've seen cultists also apparently dead. So as to what the point, the purpose, and the benefit of belonging to this cult is, you're a little confused.
Thea will go ahead and relay that information to the rest of the group and have just a look on my face of just utter confusion because I've never seen anything like this and it's so baffling to me.
You also do know that some altars can contain inherent power. The practice of continuous magical practice around them can sometimes imbue them with magical effects. What exactly those magical effects are, you don't know. It's something that you would have to, try out to, just kind of imbue it with little magic to see what it does. But it's possible that that's happening here.
I can get out there and cast Identify on the altar.
Wait, are we all out of the house now?
We're all standing in the living room right now. And I think at this point we got Sparks back, right, Dan?
Yeah.
So I've just come out of Adair telling him to just kind of hover.
Adair and Thurgle's familiar Ares are flying there holding a glowing spoon above a bone altar. That's what's happening outside. A lot of us are sitting around a hearth right now trying to figure out what to do.
Thurgle is still in the cage because he is not letting himself around anyone at this moment.
Thurgle, you'll
Like,
be
he's outside, I assume. Like right out the front door. Are you off the porch? Like,
No, I'm in the cell that I created.
no, but where did you build the cell?
It's inside, or it is outside, but facing to the forest area so that the cannon fodder would not destroy any of the housing.
Got it.
you're not gonna break Selima's rock?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. I need that rock. It's got some very important moss. Means a lot.
Everyone but Thurgle is standing here. Thurgle's in a
Forest area
cage.
so that
I'm assuming in earshot because he's been responding to the conversation.
Maybe we got a window open?
We got a window open. Yeah, that's what we're doing. D&D, folks.
D&D folks. Love it.
Sounds like it's time for the burning and the smashing. Just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. I feel like we all jump out there and we break that altar.
Are you interested in knowing what it does first?
Not really. I'm pretty sure it's evil, whatever it is.
So just as a reminder, based on the paperwork that I was reading, there's multiple altars. This is one of many. So I don't think this is really the stopping point. I think we should keep going to see until we get to this entity thing.
What is the
What? Thurgle, just come out of the cage. My God.
Things are dancing and it's scary. I don't want to.
Someone might have to let him out of the cage.
No one volunteered.
No,
We're all just like looking at each other like, I'm not doing this.
Okay, so since I've already left it there, I'm going to go walk over to the cage and said, if you can ignore the shadows for like 10 minutes, would you like to come out? Would you like to?
It's very difficult, but I can try.
If I can do it, you can do it, you wuss. Get in here.
You haven't seen what I've seen.
But really, I don't think this is a stopping point. I think we should keep going based on the fact that I already looked at the paperwork they had, and there is more than one altar.
What
Unless
else
they
did you find in
hallucinated
the
them all.
paperwork?
Doesn't destroying the altar seem like a good idea, though?
Unless it unearths something worse.
Well, we'd probably have to kill that thing anyway.
That's part of the contract.
But it's not there now. It's not something to kill yet.
And I'm just asking, what is the altar made of?
It's pure bone, right?
It's
The whole
bone
structure.
and like muscle and tendon kind of holding it together.
Thurgle, if you're freaking out, go to the control panel and put it to daylight. That way you'll deal with less shadows in here.
That would help. But my main question is for the fact of, can I shape the fucking altar itself?
Can you shape bone?
And
That
this
would be
point,
so cool.
it is outside of my expertise since it is bone and flesh.
So you want to take the altar?
I mean,
Or are you just trying to destroy it?
I was trying to destroy it, but now a small part of me wants to see if I can resurrect it into a person.
What the fuck?
I don't know the limits of your god's magic or what you've been granted.
Now you guys understand the few months I was alone with this crazy fucker over here, okay? Whew.
Well, I suppose the best thing you can do is just go try it.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Why not?
I have 2 charges of Identify left in my ring. Before you do that, let me take a pass at it and see if I can get any information and then smash it. Why not?
Please do. Let's see what happens.
Thank God for your 10 extra temporary hit points, because I do not see it doing well.
Can
So-
I say, bring salt. If you
What
have to,
is this with you and salt?
She wants to make jerky. We're gonna try it. It's gonna be delicious.
You know, okay, I will relate
I'm
the
okay with
venison
salt.
jerky. The venison jerky was very good. The stag was okay. The duck did not work. I have to tell you, the duck one did not work.
the snake was great.
The snake was great. I don't want whatever this is jerky.
But that's not the point. When you salt muscle and tissue that is still alive, it spasms uncontrollably and loses its shape and form.
Can we still make it
Was
into
it
jerky?
There's not skin everywhere.
No,
Alright.
there was muscle.
It's
That's the
exposed
point.
muscle.
So the point is you can cause it to rapidly seize.
I'm
I
gonna
had a
put that in
childhood
your
with
responsibility.
frogs.
Tell you what, Salima, I'll give you. I'll let the salt happen if you do turn a piece into jerky for me. That's the deal.
No, you can't eat this. I draw the line. I'd
And
rather
no salt.
I'd rather you eat a chunk of me than it. We'll put it to you in that perspective. You can just, find somewhere. I don't care.
Right, I'm gonna go identify this thing.
Yes.
I want to resurrect it.
Alright, Thurgle, come on. And Salima, if you want to do your salt test, come out with the salt.
Wait, resurrect.
Well, I was going to give you the salt because I can't hover or levitate or anything of that nature. I don't know what the footing is like, and I'm still having a dare out there holding the cube.
Ah, I see. Alright,
Yeah.
fine. Your salt.
Salt, take salt.
Take a handful of salt.
Here you go. Here you go. Here's my salt. There you go. Here you go. Ah,
Yeah, there's plenty of salt in your house.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
We don't have
Can you-
unflavored food. We ain't about that shit.
Yeah, no. Can you move Adair over closer to this thing so he's standing above it so I can just get on top of it?
Absolutely.
You want to stand on the altar?
I want to cast Tensor's floating disc and stand on that.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
It can hold me and Thurgle.
All right, I'm gonna go into a dare and move him.
Okay. You have to touch it to identify it, right?
I'll double check that.
Does Mage Hand count as touch?
No. You cannot cast touch spells. It is touch. All right, that's fine. That's not a problem. Okay. So, you gonna cast identify?
He's got dice in his hand.
You are?
Dear
Okay.
God.
As you touch, it's warm and uncomfortable. It's
First thing I do is drop some salt somewhere to see if it does anything.
okay, fair enough. The muscles spasm and tense and freak out and start to shrivel and kind of lose a little bit of constitution.
Huh, she was right.
You touch it, and the magical knowledge from identify identifies it as a magic item.
Okay.
It is it is an unusual blend of both regenerative and enervating energy. It is this strange mix of both necrotic and healing power. Depending on what you do at the altar, you may receive, I suppose, you may receive harm or healing.
And do I know what those entail?
Well, you could use any. You could surmise that you could use any kind of purifying spell, like dispel evil and good kind of thing, or like purifying like food and water, kind of those. Anything that would kind of purify a space, could potentially do that.
No. I'm asking, do I know what rituals would have to be performed to get those effects?
No idea what the ritual.
So I don't know how to use the magic item with the spell identify?
Oh, no, that's a good point, actually. You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. If you were to sacrifice a living creature onto it, you would receive necrotic damage. If you were to attempt to purify it, you could receive temporary hit points.
Thurgle,
Yes.
do you have the spell Detect Good and Evil prepared?
I do not.
Do you have anything like along those lines?
I have them, but I do not have them prepared.
Can you do me a favor and get someone out here that can?
I can try. Give me
And
one more.
I'm gonna. Damn it, Thurgle! Damn it, Thurgle! Get in the house!
But okay.
I know it looks real to you, but get back in the house and send me one of the other clerics that has that spell.
All right. Go back into the house. Clerics,
Unite!
does anyone have the ability to purify anything, or have I don't know. Valerica is asking for something, and the dancing shadows are distracting. Do you have detect good and evil, or purify anything?
Purification or protection would do well.
Looking, dispel magic's really all I've got off the top of my head.
Damn it, clerics, get your shit together.
0 restoration, 0 protection.
Y'all should have gone wizard or sorcerer at this point.
I'm loving this so much. This is
Wait,
great.
what? Did you say greater restoration?
That might work.
I did not directly. I did say detect good and evil, or
Detect good and evil would be helpful, and it's like a level 1 or 2 spell, guys.
purifying food and water, or something of such.
It's almost
I
like
have
this
none of those.
encounter was
However-
designed for having 3 fucking clerics in the party. Guys, come
I
on!
can offer you this. If something goes wrong, I can help heal you. Or I can protect you from dying completely. Or I could, that's about all I got.
Liv is going to walk over to Thea and be like, you're so cute.
I pop out of the house and go, no.
Thank you, Thurgle.
You're welcome. Can I try my thing now?
Yeah, try your thing.
What are you trying? You're gonna try to revive it?
I'm going to try Animate Dead at 3rd level Necromancy.
As a side note, Selima's going to hear Thurgle say that, and Adair is just going to give the most agitated, gurgling yes noise on the planet, and I know Valerica knows what that means.
Okay.
I don't think Selima's on board with this idea.
I'm gonna save you a spell slot. It is not dead.
That's what I said.
No, but it does.
Well, it's alive because you put salt on it. You also proved it's alive.
It is alive.
Is that why I took the salt?
It is decidedly not a corpse.
Initially, with the fact that you said that there was bones there, I was attempting to.
I see. So you're thinking piles of bones because it's or a corpse. Got it. I'm gonna say no because you can't. I'm gonna say no because you can't like skin a living person to expose the bone and then say pile of bones and then turn them into an undead immediately.
Why not?
It's receiving nutrients. It's still technically alive. It's not a pile of bones. It is a living creature that just happens to have bones exposed.
This is why we don't let Thurgle drink, guys. This is sober Thurgle.
I love the idea of trying to animate a living creature. That would just be so funny. So I would say that you are definitely smart and wise enough and know your spells well enough to know that this thing is not dead.
Okay, I appreciate that.
The living energy within it would be sufficient to repel that spell. So, you guys gonna try any type of purification on this thing, or are you moving on?
Well, we don't have any available.
I am going to take a weird turn with this and pull out my Trident of Fish command.
Okay.
And see if I may be able to cast Dominate Beast.
Dominate Beast. Okay. That's interesting.
So
I don't think this counts as a beast.
Guess we'll find out.
Essentially, I attempt to beguile a beast that I can see within range. It must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be charmed by me for the duration.
Okay.
The saving throw is Wisdom 15.
Okay.
Do magic?
What do you say to beguile it? Just curious.
I say, go fuck thyself, and attempt to make it destroy itself.
So you point your trident out. Ha! Nothing happens.
No, let's be specific. He points his Trident of Fish command at a bone altar in a flesh room and tells it to go fuck itself.
I mean, with all of its protrusions and things, it probably could, but nothing happens. As you point, and there's this moment. It's not gonna work.
Adair and Selima are evaluating life choices right now.
Does purify food and drink? Does that count?
Okay.
Yes.
I have that one.
Oh my god.
I love our cleric so much. This is my favorite thing ever.
Well, I'm going back to the cage.
I'm like looking at like level 4, 5, and 6 like healing and like restoration spells. I'm like, crap, everything I have prepared is for combat. And then I look at level 1 and I go, food and drink? This is an altar. This doesn't feel like food and drink.
Good work.
So as I come in,
It's got
I
salt
look-
on it now, so
I
it's
go,
technically salted meat.
My shit. So I'm going back to my cage. Do what you fucking want.
Okay.
All right. Level 1. Well, I guess I got to come out of the mansion, right?
Yeah, you do.
Hey, Uther, how much do you weigh?
A lot. Hold on.
You're pretty big.
He is pretty big. Tensor's floating disc can hold up to 500 pounds.
Oh, you're
Oh
fine.
yeah, no, I'm not. I'm 3. I'm probably 3 something, but I'm not 5 something.
Yeah, but I'm on it too. But I think the two of us should still be okay.
Yeah.
Like
You're
pretty
350.
character.
Yeah.
Description.
You're
Weight
350.
350.
Okay. So are you going to say that he and I can stand on it?
Yeah, you're just a hair under.
I was gonna say, yeah, Valerica's not over 150. Like,
Yeah, I don't think she is.
Technically 125 according to her character sheet.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah,
Alright,
so
so
you're
I'll do
fine.
that.
You gonna try purified food and drink?
let's do it. Level 1.
All right. You reach out with the spell. The energy from it just is immediately like into the altar, and you feel this pulse of warm and radiant light. The altar itself looks diminished slightly when the light fades. It looks like it's still alive. It's still, receiving everything that it needs. It's still doing its weird twitchy thing, but it doesn't seem as energetic anymore. You and Valerica, on the other hand, feel quite energetic. You feel quite invigorated. Both of you have 20 temporary hit points.
So that's 30 total for y'all right now. Damn.
Sweet.
They do not stack, so you'll cap out at 20.
Does it look unhealthy?
It does look a little.
How many more times can you do that, Uther?
3.
Are you willing to blow all of that energy on this? Because it's hurting it.
Yeah, all my favorites are higher level spells, so I guess I could.
Have at it then.
And try it one more time.
As he's doing this, can I look around the room and just see if there's anything else I can make out? Like, is the ground getting more toxic? Do we see any more of the, like, sphincter things?
Really? It's make a perception check. Uther.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it's, like, safe enough for us to really walk here.
Okay, fair enough. Uther, as you cast the spell,
Nat 20!
Nice. It impacts the altar and appears to have no effect.
Looks like one time was all we can do.
Well, then you are welcome to smash it, but it is a magical item, so it will not take damage easily.
Maybe it needs a minute to catch its breath. You know, the refractory period.
All right, so natural 20 plus what?
Lungs involved.
Your
Let's just
perception?
over there and I'll.
22. Your perception is only plus 2.
On this character, yeah.
Wow, that's wild. Okay. Looking
She's
around.
good at some things, not all things, though.
Yeah. Looking around, you see much the same kinds of kind of twisting holes of flesh, the same kind of pustules and growths. You can now start to see some of the cilia. Looking off kind of in the distance, you see a kind of what looks like a suture shut area, very similar to the mouths that screeched, and whatever thing that could have potentially opened up opens a bulbous, shiny, glistening eye. As you're looking down, and it seems to just kind of
How far away
look
is the
around.
eye?
About 20 feet. And as you're kind of watching, it goes, and it centers right on you.
I'm gonna nudge Uther.
Yes.
Having just cast your spell, you look over and you now see it. One large eye in the focus just right on you.
Found something for you to hit.
Well, that's disgusting. Tell you what, I'm cool hitting either of those things. You float your disc over where you want me to go, and I'll smack it.
We are going to approach the eye.
Okay.
And I'm going to have Sparks fly frantically around the house and start pulling on people's shirt over to the teleportation circle.
Okay. You guys all feel sparks kind of start tugging at you.
And Selima, you're seeing this throughout air.
Liv just shouts, "All right, everybody, that's our cue."
I've already word vomited everything that I've seen, probably also frustrations. So people have heard me gurgling and growling. So, yeah, we got to go.
And I tell Thurgle he has no choice. And I open the cage and I pull him out by the ear and drag him over to the teleportation circle.
Okay. So you all go into existence, the squelch of the flesh under your feet.
And Uber and I are just standing on the little disc like, hey,
Hey.
we're not standing in that.
I'm going to have Adair give me the cube. I'm going to tell him, thank you, love you, bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Spears. The
Light on
eye.
Sparks.
You all now see an eye. Huge, massive thing. Just staring directly at you. It feels like it's watching all of you at the same time.
Hey,
Like
Liv,
what-
did you say something about feeling like you were being watched?
Say that again?
Did you say something about feeling like you were being watched?
No,
You think
that was only yours. Mine was the same hallucinations he's having.
Got it.
You've all had that same kind of vibe that you've been watched. You're just not paranoid about it. It's just kind of occasional, like the feel.
Who wants to poke it?
Me.
Have at it.
So I'll jump off the tensor's floating disc
Uh-huh.
and run straight at it and wind up and just two-handed like smack it right in the iris.
Does the disc wobble with his weight differential?
I
No.
assume a bit. No?
It's just kind of magically fixed. It doesn't move or shift under weight. It will move under its own like action. But yeah, otherwise it's kind of an immovable thing. Yeah. So you run up and you just kind of two-handed. All right. As you go and you come in for this hard kind of two-handed swing with your hammer, it just sinks into the eye as you hear this pop and kind of snap as it breaks the membrane right into it, through the cornea into the eye, just, and immediately just this kind of ooze just starts kind of sloshing out, just as eye jelly just kind of seeps everywhere. It slips down the haft of your hammer, gets onto your arms, and you see like the eye kind of twitches and kind of tries to yank. You know, it's kind of moving around your hammers. You kind of pull it back. The lid shuts as it actually recedes into the wall.
Was there any particular smell or color?
Eye jelly.
What color was the eye?
In kind of whitish.
Also, what color is the skin?
The skin? It's a weird kind of mottled pink.
Let's say everything we've seen is fairly reddish so far.
Like Umi?
Uma, you mean?
Uma.
Sorta.
That's disgusting.
It's a good way of looking at it. As you pull back, you start kind of shaking off. The eye kind of recedes slightly in. The suture almost disappears imperceptibly. What looks like a kind of like a line of a scar now. You hear the squelching sound of flesh behind you as another eye forms, and it's as a lid starts to protrude. And as it opens, instead of an eye, you see rows of teeth.
Emily.
That's some sexy shit over there.
Okay. Tell me about immolate.
Uther's going to sort of like get away from the mouth. Like he just sees the teeth and he like leaps back.
So immolate
Uh-huh.
is a high level spell. It is a 5th level spell. It is a dexterity saving throw of 17.
Dexterity saving throw of 17.
Yes.
Okay, it's a wall. So it's not dexing out of this.
Nope. So it will take 8d6 of fire damage.
Okay.
Plus 5.
Okay. Well, it's not dodging.
I'm about to get burned again, aren't I?
We'll see what happens.
Well, you know what? Karma, Uther. Karma.
I love how you're blaming Uther for...
Poor Uther. He was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He was
man.
just the guy doing the talking. And he didn't even fail. He just got blackmailed at the gate.
I feel like you all fundamentally misunderstand karma.
It looks like he's just sweating. Like, why is this happening?
Karma's that thing where one person is just the butt of all the jokes. It is the target of all the misfortune, right?
Yep.
How much damage is this thing taking?
Oh, jeez.
33.
33? All right. As you just unleash this torrent of flame, just... you hear as it's just engulfed in flame.
And turns
and it
to
sizzles
ash.
and burns. The flesh turns to ash as it kind of falls and carries on the air a little bit.
So if a damage from the spell kills the target is turned to ash.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this is considered to be one organism.
The mouth was the target.
Fair play.
The thing about big things. Okay. The moment pauses. There's now this scorch hole in the it smells now like burned and charred flesh. No seasoning, but it's not a bad barbecue.
I look at Liv and I say, don't eat it.
You see the flesh is kind of now peeled back, singed on the edges, and you can see the what appears to be kind of the brickwork of a wall, kind of.
Huh.
Well, Valerica, what if we put it in the bag of colding and then, like, I can do, like, cooking experiments on it later? Are you sure?
I look at Salima. How pissed off is Salima right now? Can I roll an insight check?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know how much further we can push Salima right now.
Don't break her. We
far
need
as
her.
you need to.
19.
19?
What is she rolling against?
Are you trying to hide your displeasure?
Oh, no.
Yeah, you can say it's
How angry are you?
I'm just sitting there going, all right.
Okay.
Quickly.
Yeah.
It's all I say.
Thurgle and Salima, you hear it first before everyone else, but you hear from behind you, where you had come from, you hear this.
And I'm just going to sit there and
sound of what is almost like footprints.
Your insight check gets me cussing.
You all start to hear this as you see a figure. The same kind of robes, kind of hooded, as it's kind of stumbling, kind of head hanging down. See, it's missing an arm. It's just kind of...
Before it touches the altar, firebolt.
Just firebolt.
Liv's not going to take much time either. I still have that fireball necklace. I was going to send one off too.
Okay, so fireball or firebolt?
Fireball for me.
Fireball from me.
Got it.
Okay. It's a 20-foot radius. It is 20 feet away from you. So you guys will be within the radius of the fireball. I just want to make that clear.
Oh. Okay, Liv's not that stupid. She wouldn't do that.
Okay, I just want to be sure.
No, Thankfully, Liv is an intelligent human.
Firebolt, roll an attack.
So instead, she's gonna do the ice knife.
All right, go ahead and roll your attack.
26.
26? Yeah, that'll hit. Roll for damage.
So is it like a pile of exposed flesh, or is it still...
looks like one of the bodies that you found in robes.
21.
Okay. An arm is missing. The hand that's there is kind of twisted and deformed and kind of warped into odd and uncomfortable shapes. You can't really see the legs. And the face seems to be kind of obscured. It's kind of like hunched over. And it's kind of slowly approaching you guys. It's not even paying attention to the altar. But 26 points of damage as a firebolt just...
21.
21 points of damage as a firebolt just impacts it. See the cloak burns slightly. And it continues moving forward.
I rolled a 25 with my ice knife.
All right, roll for damage.
As I'm looking around and realizing no one else is attacking, do we want to talk to it?
So there's 2 parts. I get to roll for damage, but then you also need to make a dex save.
Mm-hmm.
So the cold damage is going to be 4 points of 4 points of piercing damage. Then you make the saving throw for the explodey cold damage.
Okay, failed.
Okay.
It didn't even try.
2d6. 5 points of cold damage from it exploding on its face.
All right. You guys watch the explosion from the ice knife as it slashes through flesh, starts to bleed heavily from one section of its body. The robe in the front kind of reduced to tatters. The medallion symbol around its neck kind of hangs off to one side as the rope is slightly severed and clatters to the floor. And it's kind of like... Figure kind of stops, takes its kind of twisted arm, pulls its hood back. You see the warped and deformed face of looked like a half-elf. Singular eye, where his mouth is. 2 eyes lidded and closed. He opens them. You see tiny teeth. And you hear a resonant come from both.
From the eye mouth?
Yes. Welcome to my citadel. That's where we're going to end the evening.
I felt that coming, but I still was like, maybe not.
I should still be sleeping.
You fixed your exhaustion.
You did fix your exhaustion. Well done,
I like
everyone.
how a lot of you guys are like, oh, creepy shit walking up. Come on by. Liv and I are like, no.
Cunningham, man, excellent, creepy, gross world building.
Good. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad that it worked out well for you
It's
guys.
so gnarly.
So, guys, Liv fucking told you so. We didn't need to stop here, okay? Just saying.
You wanted to eat it.
You wanted to eat it.
Yeah.
It was like
I want to
body.
take advantage of the situation.
I wanted to raise it from the dead, but it's not dead.
Oh, dude, no, it's like body horror plus like creepy cultism plus like morbid curiosity plus sphincters. It was great.
Sphincters.
Plus sphincters.
Well, don't forget about Miss Thea accidentally masturbating. It's a lovely little tickle.
God, I really hope that's not what happened. I'm just like internally, it's ticklish. Yeah, it's ticklish.
Sure, whatever you had to tell yourself to sleep at night.
Whatever works for you guys, yeah.
Yeah, Valerica's not trying to have that be part of her reality.
Sure.
I love it.
It's gonna
You
be a
guys
great
did great.
combat we're coming back into.
Yeah. And we're going to be around every Friday. We're off our hiatus. So.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm glad to have everyone back. It's great. You guys are fantastic. So we will pick it up next week. Thank you guys very much. I'll see all of you in our chats and see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.